Today with a high near 78. This weather forecast is brought to you by
Grand Ronde Hospital. Our hospice and home care team of experienced clinicians have been providing physical, emotional, spiritual, and bereavement support to families for over 30 years as the only not-for-profit, state-licensed, and Medicare-certified agency in our county.
Knee-High Enterprises in Baker City provides options for you and services that you might not even realize. How about new doors or windows for your home or business? You'll save a ton on energy costs. How about vinyl signs or banners for an event you have, or putting your business logo on a vehicle? Knee-High Enterprises in Baker City does all of that and more throughout the entire valley. New garage door openers and installation service. They're the best. Open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Knee-High Enterprises. Big enough for the big jobs, small enough to care.
You love the black and orange. All across this great state, Beaver Nation smolders. It yearns from Burns to Bend, Enterprise to Eugene, from Coos Bay to Corvallis. We are the home for the best fans in football.
The Beavers run a sweep to the right. Good hold to the 5 and dives in! Touchdown, Beavers!
This is Beaver Country. This is the Beaver Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care. I ever get back, so let's root for the home team. They don't win, it's a shame. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
The Johnny Ballgame Show.
Welcome, friends. We love you, and we certainly hope you are tuned right in to what we hope is your favorite sports talk radio program, brought to you by Benchwarmers Pub and Grill, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. And yes, we are going the full 3-hour tour today. Another edition of the Johnny Ballgame Show. Appreciate you guys tuned in. Obviously, we've had a busy week so far with the Rip City rallies. Thank you to everyone who contributed with whatever they did with those contributions in regards to the Portland Trailblazers and their contingency coming to our wonderful valley here. And that was a lot of fun. And we're back in the Banner Bank studio today, friendly confines, and I'm excited about that because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Here we go to the Wednesday. This is kind of when we transition into the coming week. Like I said, football season, dude, I'll take the first 2 episodes of the week, Monday and Tuesday, more kind of a reflection of what we saw the past week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, more of a preview of what's coming for this weekend. Just on the local tip, you got a ton of high school action going on, obviously on Friday Night Lights. EOU, home opener, Community Stadium on Saturday. Seahawks in Pittsburgh, Ducks, Beavers, all that action going on, and we're excited. Boise State and all that. Are they off this week? Boise State, I'll have to look at that. But yeah, we're pumped to have you here for, well, again, what we hope is your favorite sports talk radio program. My 5 bets we will do today. A couple of guests. This guy has been a writer for Sports Illustrated for over a decade. He's the author of a new book called $1 Billion Fantasy, The War Between FanDuel and DraftKings. His name's Albert Chen. He's going to come on our Farmers Insurance Hotline, hour number 2. Hour number 3, Ronald Bond, our local sports editor for the LeGrand Observer, previewing all the local sports action, high school, EOU, and everything in between. So we'll have some bondage in the studio today. We're bumping Bondy up a little bit. 5:05 will bring him in that first hour of hour number 3. I'm pumped to be back for the 3 hours. Last 2 days, those remote shows, and again, this is where the sports talk radio guy cries about how hard his work is, how hard his job is, when everybody knows he's got like the easiest stinking job ever. But those remote shows take a lot out of you. I'm just saying, like setting up, being out there. Yesterday, it just poured cats and dogs style on the folks down at the Rip City Rally yesterday. I mean, Those shows are tough. I like being in the studio. I like having all my buttons here to be able to push and all this good stuff. So let me just say, good to be back in the studio today. Be a part of the show as always. Call me, email me, shoot me a text message. Always appreciate you guys. We'll open up the phone lines, hour number 1 right now. If anybody wants to get this thing started, you got anything you want to contribute, call me 541-963-4122. I'll keep the hotline open this hour. So don't be shy. Speak now, forever hold it, that type of thing. And let's get this thing going. Brought to you by All Air HVAC. Get yourself a combo unit. Get yourself a Lennox. It's your top story on a Wednesday. I don't remember, and look, I gamble on this stuff every week, okay? I usually about break even or lose a little more than I win. If I was the worst gambler ever and I lost everything, I wouldn't do it anymore. Luckily, I have that self-control. I know what I have in my bank account. I know what I have to spend on bills and whatnot. And I know what little disposable income I do have. I know, okay, I can take $50 out of my account. I can put it into my sports account and I can play around with $50. Hopefully I win a couple hundred, that type of thing. I'm not a heavy gambler, but I do like to play the ponies a little bit, if you will. And I don't remember the last time I've seen a point spread like I see this week for Patriots versus Dolphins. I mean, right now as we sit, the Patriots are a road 19-point favorite in Miami. And if you study the Patriots or the NFL, and a lot of you do, you know that Miami has always been Brady's Achilles heel. He's like 500 in that stadium, which is so stinking weird because he's like 900 against the rest of the world. He's struggled in Miami. And I'm not indicating, hey, whoa, rush to your bookie and take the Dolphins plus 19. Heck no. I'm not saying that. I would probably stay away, or I would just take the Patriots and expect something like 37-10, 28-3, 41-10, whatever the case. I think if anything, they cover. But I was just thinking about this, and I don't know where this is for the league, good, bad. I was talking about this yesterday with a relative, and he was saying right now, I mean, you can find 4, 5, 6 teams in the NFL that are terrible. And that's not the design of this league. Everybody in the NFL is supposed to go 8-8 every year. That's how they designed the league. That's how they want it to be. I'm trying to get my guy to shut the door here. Appreciate you, man. I was broadcasting the show with the door open here, so I'm just, everybody was probably stinking annoyed by now down the hallway. But yeah, this league is designed for the 8-8s. I don't care if you're in New York City or Buffalo. Yep, you're going to sit down at our poker table, and everybody gets the same amount of chips. It doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter the economy of your city. Nope, the Dallas Cowboys, the most valuable franchise on this planet, they're going to sit down with the same number of chips as the Cincinnati Bengals. That's how this thing is designed, and I think most fans are okay with that. I mean, you don't want this turning into baseball, do you? I mean, sure, maybe if you're like a Cowboy fan and you're like, oh, take a salary cap out of the NFL. Oh, please, Jerry would just buy everybody. We'd love it. But I don't think the league wants that. I don't think you want to turn like the Buffalo Bills into like baseball's version, say like the Kansas City Royals. Even if they do get good, they can't keep their players. The Royals were in a World Series less than 5 years ago. Look at them now. They can't win a game. They're one of the worst teams in the league. Why? Well, they couldn't afford the players that they developed. They drafted, they developed, and all of a sudden the players wanted to make money. Good for them. Of course they did. They wanted their market value. In Kansas City, the Royals couldn't pay it to them because they just don't have that type of operating budget. We don't want that in the NFL, do we? I mean, we like the fact that Peyton Manning cries when he gets cut by a team in Indiana. We like the fact that LaDainian Tomlinson is the most popular player, certainly for fantasy owners, for a decade, playing in a town like San Diego, which now only has one major pro team. San Diego doesn't even have MLS. That's good about the NFL, I've always thought. And I'm thinking about this today going, gosh, geez, really? Because I honestly, and I've been gambling on the NFL a long time. I've been paying attention to point spreads for over 20 years. I don't ever remember seeing a road team favored in an NFL game by 19 or more points. I never remember seeing this. This is like some college game where you got Bama playing Lollygag Tech, and they're favored like last week. What was the spread on the Bama game? Was it 54.5? And they didn't cover. New Mexico State, if you would have taken them, great, you won. NFL spreads, if you don't pay attention to this stuff, if it's an 8-point spread, that's a big spread for the NFL. Most NFL spreads are always under a touchdown. 6.5 is a pretty good spread. I mean, like, okay, Cowboys at Redskins this week. Dallas at Washington. I mean, Washington's probably in shambles. I know Keenum had a pretty good week 1. Dallas looks pretty good. Dallas is only favored by 5.5. And that's a pretty sizable spread in the NFL. 5.5. And that's the way, that's what they want. That's how they want to keep it. By the way, Baltimore favored by 13.5 over the Cardinals. I actually like the Cardinals plus 13.5 that game. Anywho. But yeah, I was talking to a relative about this, and he was saying, yeah, there's like 5 horrible teams in the NFL right now. And that's, again, not what the NFL wants. You know, I think there's going to be teams this year. Look, I don't think 4-12 gets you the 3rd or 4th overall pick this year. I mean, obviously, we know what's going on with Miami. I mean, that team's, I'll be shocked if they win 3 games. I really will. 3-13, I almost think that's a good year for them. I mean, you have so obviously we know about them. I think Denver is in mega trouble. I think, honestly, I'll say it right now, I think this is going to be the worst record any Bronco team has had in 40 years. Since pre-Elway. Not Elway GM, Elway player. Definitely going to struggle. You know, we'll see about the Cardinals. Looks like they're probably going to struggle, even though they tied, and good for them against the Lions. You know, where are the Giants going to be this year? Probably struggling, correct? Not much to like there. I mean, so there's you know, maybe the Bengals. You know, we'll see about Tampa Bay. It's going to be an interesting year on that front. But honestly, I'm not telling you, hey, take the Dolphins plus the points. No way. I mean, if you're in a survivor pool and I'm in one, that's the pool where you pick one team every week and it just has to win, but you can't pick that team again. I mean, I'm probably just going to ride the Dolphins. Whoever the Dolphins are playing, their opponent is going to be my survivor pick. It is this week. I have the Patriots in my survivor pool. Shocker, I'm sure everybody else in my pool has it too. And we have a pool, the winner of our survivor pool gets $100. It's like you want something you want to win. And I'll tell you this, the first time I probably go away from the Dolphins is like the next time they play the Patriots. I won't be able to pick the Patriots because I've already picked them. That's the thing about the survivor pool. You only get to pick each team once. But if not that, I look, okay, well, heck, who are the Giants playing? Who's Washington playing? You know, I got other teams. I mean, are the Cardinals going to slip up? Who's Arizona playing that week? Yeah. It's not what the NFL wants. It'll be an interesting year. And there's no one to blame, I guess. I mean, blame teams for making bad decisions. I mean, that's on them. Again, every team in the NFL sits down to the poker table with the same amount of chips, which I like. It's on you. It's how you run your business. It's how you draft. It's how you hire. It's how you coach. It's how you get the ball to bounce your way, I guess, every now and again. That's where this league is. Everybody has the same opportunity. Drew Brees is playing in New Orleans, and he went there after Katrina hit. Talking about hapless, hopeless, useless, that situation in New Orleans, the situation that Breeze signed up for, he's never left. He's never thought about it. If that was another sport, I mean, look at in the same town. You had a guy in Anthony Davis, basketball, Pelicans, who had 2 years left on his deal. And it's like, dude, I'm not going to work here anymore. Like, I want out right now. I don't want to play here. Well, you got 2 years left on your deal at, what is it, $30 million a year? That's not good enough for you? Nope, I don't want to be here. I'm not showing up to work anymore. I'm literally going to wear a T-shirt to the arena that says, "That's all, folks." Like, classy Freddie Blassie. Same town. That's the beauty of the NFL, which, like I said yesterday, I'll point out again. Google NFL ratings 2019. I know it's early, but they are massively up. I think a lot of folks who turned away from the NFL, for whatever reason they turned away from, a lot of those folks are coming back, whatever the reason be this time. A lot of those folks are coming back and they're watching. Good for them. NFL ratings are back. They're in a good spot. The league, look, I'm pumped about the league this year. The only real buzzkill I have, and don't get me wrong, I like greatness. You know, I want to go see the next Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie. You know, I want to go see Pearl Jam in Seattle again at then Safeco Field. I want to see the best concert. Right? I want to see the movie with the megastar. I do. But for me, the only buzzkill is that I look at what's going on in New England, and we'll get to the Antonio Brown thing, unfortunately. I'd rather not go there, but I somewhat feel kind of obligated to at least mention it. Your all-air HVAC top story on a Wednesday, Ballgame Show Benchies. But the one buzzkill is like, dude, I'm as certain as I've been in the last 5, 6, 7 years that the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm like certain after 1 week that the Patriots are going to participate and probably win another Super Bowl. That's really the only buzzkill, and I think there's 31 other fan bases that are with me on that. And look, I don't want to change the rules. I don't want to kick them out because they're too good. I don't want to play that game. Somebody's got to beat them, or just stinking somehow wait till Tom Brady just is too old to keep doing this, or till Bill Belichick figures out he doesn't want to do it anymore. I honestly think if Brady retires after this year, if they can hit on another quarterback, bring in, say they trade for Matthew Stafford or something like that, I think Belichick, with his schemes, his game plans, their ability to evaluate talent, I think they'll be right in the mix then. Obviously, they won't have the Brady effect, but I think they can still hang around in this league. That's the only big major bummer for me right now, and I'm loving the way the league's looking right now. You see all the quarterbacks that just lit it up week 1? I swear 10 quarterbacks threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. 10. I mean, heck, I was there. I went to week 1. Seahawks, Bengals, had good seats. I could smell it, taste it, live it, feel it. Like, man, if you've never went to an NFL game, man, if you ever have the means, I highly recommend it. It's a blast going to an NFL game. I don't care where you're sitting. I've sat everywhere. I have literally sat at the last row of Century League Field for a Monday night game against the Dallas Cowboys back in, I want to say, 04, 03, right around then, Hasselbeck Holmgren era. I sat in the last row. I saw the game just fine. But the NFL is in a good spot right now. And I always say this every year. Like, I know we're talking about, Patriots are probably going to win the Super Bowl and all this, and college will talk about, how can Oregon get to the CFP and all that. Enjoy the journey. You know, enjoy the regular season and the 17 weeks you have. You know, it goes stinking quick, and before we know it, we're going to be filling out brackets in March, watching NHL and NBA playoffs in May, and missing football. We have it. It's right here. It's in a tender spot right now. I love it. I'm going to caress it. I'm going to make out with it. I'm going to enjoy this. Farmers Insurance Hotline, 541-963-4122 on the Johnny Ballgame Show. Let's take a call. Caller, what's up? Welcome to the show. What do you know? What do you say?
You're 100% correct on going to a game. I bought nosebleed seats for a Packers-Seahawks game in Seattle. I triple paid for them, and it was awesome. So, yeah, go to a game if you can do it.
Mayor, again, Union County Mayor Caleb Sampson. How's your county, man? Anything you want to say to the folks?
Well, the county's going good, and I know everyone's all jacked for football. I'm bummed about Yelich hitting that foul ball off his knee. That really stinks. For baseball, and fun fact, Johnny, did you see this fun fact that last night with the game that the Mariners played, since 1995 to 2019, their record is 1995, 2019.
That's their record. That is funny, and I love it.
That
Caleb.
is a crazy weird stat that's never going to happen again.
They're 1995 and 2019. That's their record
right now.
From 1995 to 2019. That's hilarious, man. So, you know what? I'm actually kind of surprised that and I get the joke, but I'm actually kind of surprised that their record is even that good, to be honest, from 95 to right now. There's been so many more poor years than good years there. I don't know, man, but that is a funny stat. I saw that and gave that a chuckle this morning too, Mr. Mayor.
Well, it's almost 500. I mean, that's actually, if you think that the Mariners are that bad, they're not that bad.
Hey, Mayor, what's your favorite dish? If Mrs. Mayor is going to be cooking for you and you get to pick the dish, what is she cooking?
Actually, anything my wife cooks is delicious, so I'll eat it.
You're such a politician.
I do most of the cooking.
You're such
I do most of the cooking, so I'm going to cook up a nice juicy steak for myself.
Nice, man. Excellent. How do you like your steak? Rare?
No, dude. I grew up on a Angus ranch, and I like mine cooked. And I know people will say I'm insane.
Yeah.
I like mine medium well.
Okay. Yeah, medium well. So you want that sucker cooked brown when I cut it open, correct?
Just no pink or barely pink.
Yeah. What are your go-to sides for a steak dinner?
Steak.
So just the steak. I mean,
you don't need a side. Why waste the time eating anything else?
You don't want
steak and a beer.
You don't want a baker. You don't want asparagus. Maybe some Brussels sprouts. Corn on the cob. Are you kidding me, man? You don't want any trimmings? Just the steak. Just the meat, huh?
Corn on the cob is probably my favorite, but, a side of bacon and a beer, I'm good.
So steak, bacon, and beer. Hey, do you butter the hell out of your corn on the cob where it's just dripping with butter?
Of course, with salt and pepper for me.
Yeah,
I like
me too,
salt
man.
and pepper and tons of butter.
Man, I cannot take my corn on the cob, and I found the butter dish, and I just turn it around. I cannot turn my corn on the cob enough. I mean, there's no such thing for me as too much butter on a piece of corn on the cob. It's crazy, man. I love it.
Have you ever used that butter thing where you put a chunk of butter in it and it's formed for your corn and you just rub it back and forth and you're slobbering it with butter? It's delicious.
No, I've not seen that. Why don't you send that to the Johnny Ballgame Show at Gmail, Goss Motors inbox? Let me see that, okay?
I got to see if I can find one for you. They're really cool. If you ever get to use one, I definitely recommend it.
All right, Mayor Sampson. Good stuff today, bro.
All right, go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. We have a Packer fan as a mayor. The hell's up with that? And that's all in fun. Oh yeah, I think you guys know that. Top story. Having fun today. It's nice to be back in the studio. It's nice to know that I got you for the full 3 hours today. Turning off the mic at 6 p.m. like we typically do. I don't know why I do that to myself though. Like, I'm passionate about sports. And I wouldn't say I'm passionate about food because I'm pretty lazy when it comes to food. I have a roommate now. Just FYI. Loser. Yeah, I know. I'm the dude in his 40s that has a roommate. Loser. Yeah, you want to be in your 40s and have a roommate? working radio. Loser. Totally. But anyway, my roommate can cook it up. Quesadillas, breakfast sandwiches. So I'm not like a passionate food connoisseur. I don't have much of a palate probably. But I just like to eat. I mean, I'll put in some Gino's pizza rolls, Totino's pizza rolls, and then get a side of like some horseradish or something. I'll dip those son of us in the horseradish, pop them into my mouth. Love it. Just like to eat. And I always bring up food on this show, and I'm like, dude, you can't eat for another 2.5 hours. Why the hell are you talking about a steak dinner right now? And there's just something about a steak dinner, right? Love it. Nothing goes better with a steak dinner than an NFL victory. My Seahawks win, have a steak dinner after that sucker. Oh, heck yeah. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. We'll keep this thing going. But first, big thanks again to All Air HVAC. Look, it's going to get colder before you know it. It always does. And, you know, Farmers' Almanacs will indicate, dude, we're in for a cold winter. Go to All Air HVAC. Talk to Signe, Scotty, Keenan, Ryan, Jeremy, the crew. Get you caught up on the Lennox brand. How about Blaze King, Mendota, Napoleon? They carry the best brands, the trusted brands. Stop worrying about how you're going to keep warm in the wintertime. Stop it. All Air HVAC right down the road from the Golden Arches in LeGrand. Check out their website, allairhvac.biz. That's B-I-Z. Appreciate their love, their support of the Ballgame show. Again, hook up the companies that hook up your favorite show. All Air HVAC. Love ya.
A message from Veteran Service Officer Rick Gloria. If you are a Blue Water Navy veteran that served on a vessel no more than 12 nautical miles from the coast of Vietnam between August 5th, 1964 and May 7th, 1975, you can now file for VA disability if you have a medical diagnosis of a condition that is presumptive of Agent Orange. If you filed for VA disability in the past but were denied, you need to contact your local Veteran Service Officer for more information on how to begin the process of filing for your VA benefits for exposure to Agent Orange.
Dear movers and shakers, we know how you roll, and we're with you. We're with you on the tarmac or terrain. In the 2019 RAV4 Adventure, Limited, and Hybrid models. We're with you in the comfy Highlander with seating for up to 8 and advanced safety features standard. We're with you in the sharp 2019 Toyota Camry with its available cockpit red leather seats. And we're with you in the all-new 2020 Toyota Corolla, loaded with attitude and the latest tech. We're with you. Let's go, Toyota. Find yours at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
It's got that atmospheric feeling to it.
This is Oregon football.
And it is intercepted. Foot race. It's over, baby.
Saturday, the Ducks wrap up non-conference play at home against Montana.
First down and a lot more. There you go. Nope, you're not going to get him.
Kickoff is at 7:30.
Unbelievable.
It's only on your home for Ducks football.
When you hear that roar, it's game time.
It's big game time.
Ducks football on Boomer Radio, brought to you by Cricket Wireless, Kurt's RV Service and Repair, and Paul Swigert with Country Financial.
It's time to take the bull by the horns, because the Pendleton Roundup is almost here, and you can rope in something real special when you stop by D&B Supply today. Rope in a new look. When you purchase a pair of Wrangler jeans and a Wrangler shirt, you'll get a free voucher to the Pendleton Roundup, good for Wednesday, September 11th or Thursday, September 12th. Get a ticket to see him ride and get ready with Wrangler, only at D&B Supply.
That's the sound of a dying engine, metal on metal. And that's the sound of your savings dying with it. Keep your money and your ride alive with industry-leading AMSOIL. I'm a believer in AMSOIL lubricants, engineered friction-reducing synthetics. For fuel efficiency and extreme performance, regular oil just can't touch it. No matter what you drive, operate, or ride, where there's metal on metal, you want AMSOIL. For performance and protection, get AMSOIL today at Island City Market in Delhi.
Hi, I'm Avina. I'm 7 years old and I'm blind. You can help me live the life I want.
Help Ravina and other blind people by making a tax-deductible donation of your used car, truck, or almost anything with wheels to the National Federation of the Blind. Just call 855-659-9314 or visit carshelpingtheblind.org. That's carshelpingtheblind.org. And if you know a blind person who needs help, email nfb@nfb.org.
Hello, can I say that there's something wrong with this place? I got time just to waste. If you would be my new escape, so then I say, can't find a love, but well, there's no other way of pulling me under, 'cause it's gotta be fate. If we're under the covers, it's all gonna be A-okay, A-okay. I don't wanna do it alone. I'm begging you,
I'd appreciate everybody for hanging out. Your favorite sports talk radio program, we hope, brought to you by Benchwarmers Pub and Grill, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 on a little place called Super Talk Radio. Appreciate the love. Hey, quick reminder, get your picks in for our Knee High Enterprises weekly NFL Pick'em contest. Go to the website, JohnnyBallGameShow.com. Make your picks. There's no point spreads. Just pick winners. I want winners. Get there and pick them. I think we give a TV or something really cool to the grand champion at the end of the year. If you want to win the TV like my boy Brendan did last year, you got to participate every week. So get to JohnnyBallGameShow.com and get that stuff in. I'm going to talk about some new friends of mine here in a bit, but first, I don't know anybody who's still chomping at the bit, getting all excited, checking their phone, hitting that refresh button. Oh, Antonio Brown, what's up next? I think people, I don't remember the last time a player in that league has been this annoying. It's just every day it's something else. Now, what broke last night, it's serious stuff. It's not frostbitten feet, right? It's not, oh, my helmet. It's not, oh, I don't want to play with you. No, this is serious. This is an allegation. Now, again, Antonio Brown's a Patriot now. He went to his first practice today. And there's a situation going on. An allegation made by a former student, co-student, I should say, a former trainer. He went to school with this person at Central Michigan University. He hired her as a trainer of his in Miami, and there's a civil lawsuit against him in the Southern District of Florida, accusing Antonio Brown of sexually assaulting her on 3 different occasions. Again, that's serious, serious stuff. Not frostbitten feet, not my helmet. I mean, this is serious. And the timing, I don't get it either, right? It comes out, the day after or a couple days after the Patriots pick him up? Timing? Timing is everything, right? In a lot of things. I remember, my girlfriend, right? If the timing, if the cosmic stars didn't align, I'd still be a single moron living with 2 cats.
Oh, my God, Becky.
You're an idiot. Timing is everything. I know a lot of people say, gosh, I met my wife, I met my husband. It was happenstance. I was walking in, she was walking out, she dropped her keys, I went down, I picked them up. And now, my gosh, 4 years later, I woke up, I got 2 kids, I got a mortgage, and I got a stinking minivan out front. How the hell did this happen? Timing. It's everything, obviously, right? So that's the most peculiar thing on this story for me now. I don't know why the accuser, and I'm not accusing her of doing anything wrong. I'm going to wait and see this thing play out, okay? Antonio Brown deserves his case in court to disprove this. He absolutely does, just as she deserves her case to prove it. So I'm going to wait and see. But the timing's just odd. I mean, supposedly this happened years ago. And we hear about it the day before he's going to put a Patriot helmet on the first time. I mean, and there's jokes you could make, but you know what? This is sensitive. Let's not make them. You know, like I got a text earlier today. I'm not going to say who it was from, but it was like, hey, Johnny, that accuser must hate the Patriots. Womp, womp, womp. Once AB goes to the Patriots, oh, that's it. That's it. Our pets' heads are falling off. I got to report this now because I can't have AB on the Patriots. Not funny, not cool, definitely too soon, right? But anyway, I don't even want to talk about this anymore, quite frankly. Let's wait. Let's see how this plays out. I'm sick of Antonio Brown. I'm tired of him. And I own him in 2 leagues on my fantasy team. He's my guy. 2 teams in my fantasy league. I have him. I don't even care about him anymore. Ballgame show benchies. I don't even care. I care so much more about tomorrow. Talked to my man Pete today over there at Countryside Sheds. You guys know Pete? Well, tomorrow they're having an open house. Free lunch to anybody who comes by 11 a to 2 p.m. Free lunch at Countryside Sheds. That's what, 10505 North McAllister, just on the corner of Highway 82 in North McAllister out there, Island City. Country House Sheds. Sheds, cabins, garages, animal shelters, greenhouses, stock sheds. I know you've driven by there. They give free delivery. They sell shed kits. Purchasing is easy. Everybody needs those big sheds they have. Cleaning, storage, workshop, garden supplies. You can even design your own. Go to countrysidesheds.com. Open house tomorrow. Go there and get your free lunch. I'll be there. I hope you are too. 11A to 2P, free lunch at Countryside Sheds. That's it. Celebrating their new location, free lunch at Countryside Sheds. Going to talk about them a little later as well. Shout out to my boy Pete out there. You know, this is what they call in the biz. Yeah, because I'm a big timer. This is what they call in the biz a tease. You know it's getting bad when, okay? And there is a story in college football with a particular program before a particular game coming this Saturday. And I'll just leave you with this. You know it's getting bad when. Ballgame show, bench warmers, pub and grill.
It's time now for your local weather forecast. In the Grand tonight, mainly clear conditions, low of 42 degrees. For tomorrow, mainly sunny conditions with a high near 80. In Baker City tonight, mostly clear skies too, low of 42 degrees. And by tomorrow, plenty of sunshine throughout the day with a high near 78. This weather forecast is brought to you by
Grand Ronde Hospital. As a not-for-profit organization, we have a hospital-based financial assistance program. Find out more at grh.org.
Grand Ronde Hospital. Hi, my name is Johnny, and I'm a moron.
Hi, Johnny.
I didn't take my girlfriend's car to Island City Speed Lube.
Oh, you schmuck.
I thought I could save a few bucks. Obviously, I thought wrong. She left me lovesick, broke. My cats are upset at me, and so is my mother. Island City Speed Lube is the fastest, most reliable oil change on this planet. Why didn't I go there?
Preserve your relationships with responsible vehicle maintenance with Island City Speed Lube.
Hey folks, Dave Ramsey here. Listen to the Dave Ramsey Show on your local news talk station, KLBM and KBKR, 1450 and 1490 AM.
The Dave Ramsey Show on Super Talk Radio is brought to you by Catherine Bailey of Edward Jones in Baker City. Your retirement deserves the attention of a personalized financial strategy backed by the advice, tools, and resources of Edward Jones. Contact Catherine Bailey at Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
This season, the Boise State Broncos are looking to continue dominating the Mountain West.
Throws it for the right side, and the ball is caught. Is it inbounds? Yes, touchdown. What a catch for
With 4 young QBs looking to lead the Broncos to the postseason and another bowl win.
Unbelievable.
Be there with the team all season long right here on the Broncos Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
When it comes to your child's education, have you considered every option? Public school, private school, online learning, and homeschooling are all viable options that serve each unique child differently. So we're asking parents why they made the decision to homeschool.
Personally, I have seen how fostering a love of learning extends into the workplace. I have 2 grown children, and both have worked diligently to set themselves up for success. Upon entering college, their test scores were outstanding. They both have a good work ethic due to seeing it in action at home, so they have been very successful in their lives. For my younger 2, I have seen how homeschooling strengthens the desire to learn, and I have confidence my daughters will enjoy successful lives as well.
Consider all your options and discover the education that's right for your child. Visit homeschoolnowusa.com to learn how. That's homeschoolnowusa.com. homeschoolnowusa.com.
Johnny Ballgame here, talking about my team at All Air HVAC. I love those guys. Look, it gets hot in my studio during the summer. We've tried all types of AC units, from ones that hang out of the window to your basic house fan. Shocker, they didn't get the job done. Then I got my boss to call All Air HVAC, and they installed an entire unit. Now we're cool in the summer and toasty in the winter. And the team at All Air HVAC were total pros also. Heating and cooling systems for residential and commercial. All Air HVAC. Take my word for it.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Yeah, the wheel is broke, then why do I turn it? If it don't mean nothing, why do I learn it? Town is quiet and I'm gonna burn it. I still got damage to do. An automatic, I'm gonna grind it. Gone for good and I'm gonna find it. River and me, baby, don't try to bind it. I still got running to do.
Ballgame show, bench warmers, pub and grill. Appreciate the love on a Wednesday. Hey, join the show. We'll read emails sent to our Goss Motors inbox. That's Johnny Ballgame Show at gmail.com. Some emails coming in I wanted to get to. Yes, go to the website to play the Knee-High Enterprises weekly NFL Pick'em contest. A couple people shouted that out a little bit. But yeah, go to the website. You can make your picks there. All good. Like I said, there's 3 types of attitudes. There's 3 types of for fan bases, kind of 3 types of ways to look at this. You know, there's the fans that are really passionate and they really care, and that's great. You know, there's the fans that are really mad at the way that the thing is going. They're really mad at their team, Mariner fans or whatever. They're still there. They're still fans, but dang it, they're upset. They want stuff to change. And then there's like the fan bases sometimes that just don't care anymore. Like win or lose, if they're good, if they're bad, I really don't care. There's the fan base that just doesn't care. They're done. They've checked out. And one of the worst things I saw yesterday, it was just embarrassing. It was a bad look, was the attendance yesterday. I'm sorry, last week, Saturday, college football. San Diego State in the Rose Bowl against UCLA. And I saw a tweet, I believe from a sports writer who was attending the game, and he took a shot of the entire Rose Bowl, like a bird's eye view type of thing. And he said 10 minutes before kickoff. And the Rose Bowl looked empty. It looked like the Tampa Bay Rays were playing a baseball game. The Miami Marlins playing a baseball game. And there were pictures of dudes like sitting by themselves, really in their own section. Thousands of seats next to them, none of which were occupied. And you're thinking, man, that's sad. And know that tells me that the fan base, look, they're not willing to go there and say, hey, we're upset. Nope, they're just not going anymore. They just don't care. Look, the Dodgers have just won their 7th straight division title, right? The Lakers brought in Anthony Davis. The Clippers have never been this hot. You got the Rams coming off a Super Bowl trip, and the Chargers, even though LA doesn't even want them there, they're good too. USC, anyone? Anyone? They're ranked top 25. Okay. So UCLA they don't register anymore. They don't even count. They don't even exist at this school. And it's a rough start for Chip Kelly, and that's a bummer. But you know it's bad when? Well, UCLA sent a letter to their season ticket holders. Now, this Saturday, UCLA hosts Oklahoma, and they're going to get smacked. Trust me, it's going to be bad. Oklahoma's going to pour it on. Jalen Hurts is going to come into the Rose Bowl. He's going to light the Bruins up. It's going to be really ugly. So UCLA, and again, this is the biggest game of the year outside of the USC game for UCLA. They have Oklahoma coming to the Rose Bowl. Check this out. They sent a letter to their season ticket holders saying, to show our appreciation for your loyalty and commitment to UCLA football, we would like to offer you 4 additional complimentary tickets to Saturday's home game against the number 5 ranked Oklahoma Sooners. These tickets will be accessible via your UCLA Athletics account no later than 3 p.m. on Friday. Immediately next to your current seats, you will have the ability to forward them to any family members, friends, or colleagues of your choice. This is a small token of appreciation from our department for your continued support as we work every day to build a successful football program. Are you kidding me? This is UCLA giving season ticket holders four extra tickets to go see Oklahoma. Again, you know it's really bad when they are literally giving tickets away to see the Oklahoma game. This isn't Cal Poly coming to town, right? This isn't Azusa Pacific, the Fighting Christian Okoyes coming around. No, this is Oklahoma. This is Boomer Sooner. I mean, there's going to be, even with this thing, or 4 complimentary tickets, there's going to be probably more Sooner fans than Bruin fans. Look, they said last weekend that the attendance for the San Diego State game was 36,000. No stinking way. Look, I've seen people manipulate attendance numbers. Heck, I used to work for the University of Idaho. I can say for certain there was a few games there. I saw the attendance report. I'm like, oh, hell no. Are you counting everybody twice? Anyway, I've seen how they do that. And there's no way there was 36,000 fans at that Rose Bowl game last week, UCLA, San Diego State. No way. Now, the Rose Bowl for UCLA holds 93,000. It's way too big for them. Way too big. If I'm UCLA, I'm doing everything I can to pay my way into that new Ram Charger megaplex they're building, which is also way too big, but at least it's in LA. It's close in proximity to your campus. It's not an hour away. You don't make your student body have to hop on a bus and drive an hour and a half to see the worst Pac-12 team in the league play. Nobody's going anymore. Again, they're giving away tickets to the Oklahoma game. Biggest game they have in non-con. Last year, Chip Kelly's first year, UCLA finished 3-9, okay? That was the worst record they've had since 1971, before Dick Vermeil got there. And I'll tell you this, They're not going to win 4 games this year. I don't think they'll win 3. They might not win a game. Think about this. Pac-12 teams, you only play 3 non-cons. UCLA's non-cons, Cincinnati, that was a loss. San Diego State, that's a loss. Now they got Oklahoma coming in, that's a loss. Where's a win? Now, Beaver fan, I don't even think you guys play UCLA this year, right? Talk about a game. Give me OSU versus UCLA. I don't even think they play. I mean, UCLA, there's a really good chance they're going 0-12. Like, it's at the point now that I feel sorry for Chip Kelly. And it's tough to win at UCLA. It's like really tough to win at UCLA. I've never really seen it since Terry Donahue. I haven't seen UCLA good in 20 years. They haven't won this conference since the 90s. It's not a football school. I've always said it's a sleeping giant, but here I am now, and I'm going like a lifetime without UCLA consistently being good at football, when you would think they have every resource possibly to be good at football. Gorgeous women on campus, a gorgeous campus. You're in Westwood, right outside of Beverly Hills. Stuff's just cool looking there. You'd think you could be able to get people to want to go play football there. I think they're going 0-12. I don't know what that means for Chip. I don't think if he gets another year, if he goes 0-12, that's tough to keep your job when you go 0 and whatever. Really hard to keep your gig. Do they play the Beavers? I don't know. But again, they're giving away tickets to Oklahoma. I mean, this should be their big pay money grab of the year. You know how many tickets they probably have available? If UCLA Athletic Department had to send a letter to their season ticket holder saying, hey, thanks so much for your support. We love you. Come to the website, fill out a couple of things. We're going to give you 4 additional tickets. And please, give them to your friends. Give them to your family. Like, what? You know it's bad when? How about this? UCLA's 0-2, right? Last year, Chip Kelly, UCLA, 0-2, first 2 games of the year. That's the first time UCLA has been 0-2 in consecutive years since during World War II, the 42-43 season. That's how bad it is. And they're giving away tickets to the Oklahoma game, the number 5 team in the country. They're not giving away tickets to the Lollygag Tech game. Ballgame Show, Benchwarmers Pub and Grill. Oregon Trail Trader, my boy Bommy. Talked to Carl today. Remember, OregonTrailTrader.com. New hours. What is that, Bommy? 9:30 to 6? Am I saying that right? Was it Monday through Saturday? I think I butchered that. I just talked to him today, and he told me to mention something, and I can't remember. Bommy, if you're listening, shoot me a text on that, dude. They do have the largest selection of guns in Eastern Oregon. That I know, and that is a fact. I've been there. I've seen the operation. I've seen the storage. They have the largest selection. It's not just about the guns either. It's about hunting equipment, camping, fishing. Carl Baum's hit a gold mine there with the Oregon Trail Trader, and he's got the easiest website to navigate on that I've seen in that type of business. OregonTrailTrader.com, OregonTrailTrader.com. It's super easy. Perfect for the true Eastern Oregonian. OregonTrailTrader.com. Love ya.
Options when it comes to purchasing your next set of tires. At Rock & Sons, it's 100% local. The money you spend at Rock & Sons won't be transferred to an account at some corporate headquarters far away from our community in Eastern Oregon. Money spent at Rock & Sons will filter its way back into our community. That's how local business works. We all support each other. We don't send our money to some giant corporation. Think about it. Since 1965, Rock & Sons Tire and Auto, 100% local.
Johnny Ballgame here. Big news at MJ Goss Motors here for the press conference. Mr. McCandy.
Yeah, Ballgame. Go for it.
Is it true that MJ Goss Motors is giving its customers a lifetime powertrain warranty?
On all qualified vehicles, yes.
If I buy a vehicle, I have that powertrain warranty for as long as I own the rig?
Yes, for anyone.
What if I bought a used Ford?
Absolutely. Covered. Ballgame. Any qualified vehicle.
Thank you. No further questions.
Suicides among veterans is a growing epidemic. They're our family members, our friends, our neighbors. They need our help. Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255 is a great source for information. Counselors offer instruction on how to support our veterans and recognize troubled behaviors. It's our turn to be there for our veterans, like they've been there for us. Call Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. This message sponsored by Coordinator Rick Gloria and Baker County Veterans Services.
I know you got a lot of options when it comes to a good cup of Joe, but I'll tell you, a cup of Joe at Joe Beans is your top option. My recommended drink, the iced vanilla latte. Can never go wrong with that. Alan Colleen do such a terrific job. Beans custom from Somerville. Talking locally roasted, you will taste the difference. Their beans don't come on some semi-truck set up from Seattle or something like that. No, dude. Grow that stuff themselves, that type of thing. Roast Somerville, bros. Ballgame Show, Benchwarmers Pub and Grill. 9/11. Just wanted to take a brief moment. I mean, obviously, social media, if you follow that, you've seen a lot of posts, and it's hard to believe it's been 19 years, right? Or maybe it isn't for you. I'm sorry, 18 years. Right? I mean, I'll never forget. I was in my early 20s, and I just remember watching the news night in, night out, and biggest tragedy of my generation's lifetime. And anybody who's been affected there personally, condolences. Never forget 9/11. We'll reset this thing. Hour number 2 on the way, but first, here's the newsies.
Banner Bank is happy to bring you Super Talk Radio, KDKR Baker City, KLBM La Grande. Stop by Banner Bank today. Member FDIC.
High Court backs Trump 9/11 threat. I'm Barbara Cusack. A Supreme Court ruling sides with the Trump administration as it allows nationwide enforcement of a new rule to prevent most Central American immigrants from seeking asylum in the United States as litigation challenging its legality continues. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor dissented from the High Court's order. Sotomayor said that the ruling upends long-standing practices regarding refugees who seek shelter from persecution. The nation came together today to reflect on the 9/11 terror attacks that hit U.S. soil 18 years ago. President Trump addressed those gathered at the Pentagon.
If for any reason they come back to our country, we will go wherever they are and use power the likes of which the United States has never used before. And I'm not even talking about nuclear power. They will never have seen anything like what will happen to them.
California lawmakers approved a bill that would rideshare drivers and other so-called gig workers employees rather than independent contractors. Correspondent Jim Roop says the governor still has to sign that measure.
There are some rideshare drivers and truckers who would be affected by the bill that would rather remain independent contractors because if they're employees, they can't set their own schedules, they can't refuse a fare or a load, they won't have the freedom of flexibility. Supporters say, however, these workers will not only receive at least minimum wage, but other protections and the ability to unionize.
President Trump denied that the White House urged a federal agency to repudiate weather forecasters who contradicted his claim that Hurricane Dorian would hit Alabama. Trump's response came after the New York Times reported acting White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney told the Commerce Secretary to have the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration publicly disavow the position that Alabama was not at risk. I'm Barbara Cusack.
So when people first hear about MediShare, they have questions, some really good questions, starting with the obvious. What is it?
Well, Medishare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. It's not health insurance. It's a different way of doing things, which leads us to the next question. Why do people do this? Why do they become Medishare members? Here are two of the biggest reasons. Number one, people feel good about it. They're not trapped in a plan that makes them pay for things they don't believe in. They know their money is going to help people. And the second reason, people save a lot of money. Maybe you've heard us mention the typical family saves about $500 a month switching to Medishare. And one more big question, does it work? The answer is yes, 1,000 times yes, or 400,000 times, since that's how many Medishare members there are, and they've shared over $2 billion in medical expenses. So easy to find out right now how Medishare can work for you. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE, 844-91.
It's time now for your local weather forecast. In the Grand tonight, mainly clear conditions, low of 42 degrees. For tomorrow, mainly sunny conditions with a high near 80. In Baker City tonight, mostly clear skies too, low of 42 degrees. And by tomorrow, plenty of sunshine throughout the day with a high near 78. This weather forecast is brought to you by LeGrand Gold and Silver, family owned and managed for over 35 years. Your trusted local experts for fine jewelry and precious metals. Shop LeGrand Gold and Silver's full line of quality jewelry, gifts, and coins, and find the perfect gift that will be cherished for a lifetime.
Oregon State football has returned to Reser Stadium for head coach Jonathan Smith's second season back with the Beavers. Single game tickets are available starting as low as $24 via phone or in person at the Gill box office. Prices vary by location. Don't miss any of the fantastic action this year. To secure your seats, call a representative at 541-737-2050 or visit beavertickets.com today.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care. I ever get back, so let's root for the home team. They don't win, it's a shame. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
The Johnny Ballgame.
Hour number 2. Appreciate the love and welcome back to what we hope is your favorite sports talk radio program, brought to you by Benchwarmers Pub and Grill, the Johnny Ballgame Show. Remember, Benchwarmers Pub and Grill, Sundays with NFL Sunday Ticket, Saturdays with Pac-12 Network. No establishment has both of those. Duck fan, Beaver fans, heck, they stream the EOU games as well. I don't know if there's been a press release on this. I don't know how much you care on this. I haven't made this announcement official yet on my show. But I'm calling EOU football. Not that, hopefully people care about that or whatever, but yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please be seated. No, I've signed a deal with EOU to broadcast home football games on their internet stream. So when you watch the games, and you're not going to get Johnny Ballgame. You're going to get John Mallory, play-by-play broadcaster. Okay? And seriously, I'm going to flip the switch. I love doing play-by-play, and I was happy that EOU and myself were able to come to terms, and I'm going to do the internet feed of the home game. So my first day on the job is Saturday, and I can't wait. I'm beyond pumped, and hopefully those games are on at Benchwarmers as well. So it's going to be a terrific football season. I cannot wait for that. But anyway, had an interesting email today. Now, I'm sure you've all probably heard by now. I'm sure you've all probably seen that Team USA, they lost yesterday to France in basketball. And the 58-game win streak was snapped. Now, France has a good team. I mean, there's NBA players on that team as well. I'll just say that Team USA, I don't care if it's borderline all-stars they're sending. in my opinion, has no business losing to any other country. Maybe I'm just a stupid American on that, America. But a backcourt with Donovan Mitchell and Kemba Walker should be okay against the French. But, Evan Fournier was on Team France. Rudy Gobert shredded Team USA with 21-16. I mean, you're talking maybe the premier defensive center in the league right now, Rudy Gobert. He was on the French team. I don't know if they had Batum. I don't think they did. I don't know if they had Tony Parker. I don't think they did. Let me just tell you this. I haven't watched a second of the FIBA World Cup of basketball. Have you? Have you watched this? I'm sorry, dude. Yes! I'm watching football right now. I'm managing fantasy teams. I'm hanging out with Kevin Calabro. There's a name drop. Johnny Ballgame. I'm not watching the FIBA World Cup of basketball. I don't give a rip, especially when pretty much every single player that you'd want on this team opted out. Still, and by the way, yes, Nicholas Batum did play. But Team USA lost. Team USA is now in the consolation round, and I don't know if this is going to keep you up in the middle of the night. But they have been eliminated from medal play. Okay, they will not medal in the FIBA World Cup. America in basketball. Team USA will face Serbia in the consolation round tomorrow. Now, another reason why I'm not watching this. Look, there's this thing called a time zone, and China is like a day ahead. Like, I don't even know when these games are going on, dude. I don't even know where to find them. Was it NBA Network? Again, I don't even know where these things are. But I have a friend. Shout out to my boy McDonough. Call him McDonut Head. He's a teacher. He lives in Beijing, and he's been going to these games. And he's been emailing me and texting me. I know a dude who lives in China. I'm sure we all do. Anyway. So anyway, I don't know, again, where to even find these games, but now it's probably pointless because, yeah, dude, Team USA's kind of been eliminated. But with that all said, now, I got an email from my boy Nate, again, who's been watching these games. And he had an interesting point. So I want to go to the Goss Motors inbox real quick. I got my 5 bets this hour. I got Albert Chen, an author. This guy's been a senior writer for Sports Illustrated for 10 years. He's coming on the show today. We're pumped. But first, I want to read this email. Hey, Ballgame, if you have time on your show today, please talk about this. Is this particular USA basketball team overrated and international players are getting better, or did the Americans just not show up in this tournament? France just took it to them and knocked them out. I want to add that many teams gave the Americans a good run, especially Turkey, who should have beaten them in the preliminary round. Johnny, not to mention Team USA also losing to Australia 2 weeks ago. Johnny, I realize that the quality of players that the NBA or that Team USA sent from the NBA was not the best. However, what's going on? Is this team just overrated and world play is improving, or were the Americans just interested in sightseeing China? I would love to get your take on this while it's still a fresh topic, my boy Nate. Here's the thing, and this is a good thing, okay? Basketball, other than soccer, is the most global sport on this planet now. Other than soccer, it's basketball. And basketball is big worldwide. They pay big money, and they love hoops in China, which is such a fabulous venue for the FIBA World Cup of basketball. They should have it in China every 4 years. They care about it. They want it. They support it. Keep it there. Unless somebody else wants to support it and be a host like China has been. Keep the damn thing over there. Dude, we don't want it. It won't register here. It won't. Nobody will care. Keep it in China. Maybe move it to Australia. Move it to venues, countries, places that will want it. But I don't think it's that they were disinterested. No, it wasn't their best shot. It wasn't their best team. I will tell you this. Couple of reasons why Team USA is out of the World Cup of basketball. And first off, they should always win it. Let's just be honest. I think we all know this. But they don't always. And this is the first time, what was this? Was it the 06 team with the 04 Olympics, one of those teams? Like, they had a 58-game win streak, okay? Like, they should have won in this international play. And that game they lost to Australia, I believe that was an exhibition. That didn't count. But again, they did lose to the Australian national team, which should never happen. America's just way better at basketball than Australia. And shout out to the Aussies because they're getting way better. First, shout out to planet Earth. Shout out to all these countries that are putting resources into basketball. It's going to help the NBA, and it's just going to further the sport, which is cool. Basketball's better now globally, and that's great. You can pat the 92 Dream Team on the butt for that. Hey, thanks for doing this. Thanks for globe-trotting this sport. And here we see 30 years later, just about, where basketball is globally compared to where it was in the 90s. It's way different now. These dudes can play. Good for them. I love it. But in this particular unit, this team USA, dude, they patched this team together like a month ago. They haven't been playing together very long. And you can even see that in the NBA. There are teams, the super team that they try to whip together in one off season. It's like most of the time it takes longer than you'd think for them to get it. Remember the 2011 Miami Heat team that lost to Dallas in the finals? It was the first year they had the Braun, Wade, and Bosch experiment there. Dallas kind of handed it to them in those finals. It took a year. So I will say at least from a cohesion standpoint, they weren't there. And I will say that a lot of these other teams, they play together longer. It is a bigger deal. Like, think about this. Rudy Gobert, who lit USA up yesterday. What was it, 27 and 16 or something like that? That was a really big game for Rudy Gobert. For him to beat his fellow NBA brethren and wear a jersey that says France across the chest and beat a team wearing a jersey that says USA, dude, that's a mega win for Rudy Gobert. I mean, he's never paying for a French fry again in France. They eat those, right? Yeah, they drown them in mayonnaise, don't they? Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's a huge win for him. One of the bigger wins he's ever had. And it means something to all the other countries to beat USA. It's great. Yeah, cool. It's like beating Canada in hockey. Like, even in this country, America, when we beat we beat Canada in hockey, it's like, yes, screw you, Canada, we got you in hockey. That's what all these other countries want to do with us in basketball. There's still no excuse for it, but I will say it's not that other countries aren't getting better. They clearly are. Clearly are. And again, shout out to the folks, I'm sure everybody's tuned in the Far East, but shout out to the folks in China. I mean, you guys, they've been awesome hosts. These games are sold out. They're signing autographs. Like, it's a huge mega deal in China to have the World Cup there. Keep it there where people want it. Another shout out to my boy Pete and his crew. Another reminder, Countryside Sheds, all right? How about this? Open house all day tomorrow, but a free lunch from 11 to 2. Yes, free lunch on a Thursday. Remember that. Write it down. Take a picture. Country House Sheds, free lunch Thursday, 11 to 2. It's a 10505 North McAllister. You've probably driven past it in Island City. It's on the corner there of Highway 82 in North McAllister. Sheds, cabins, garages, animal shelters. You've seen all that good stuff. They always do free delivery, shed kits, easy purchasing. Remember, sheds are perfect for cleaning, storage, workshop, garden designs. You can design your own. Go to countrysidesheds.com. But yes, what's really important is that free lunch tomorrow for their open house. New location. They're pumped about it. Free lunch tomorrow at Countryside Sheds. I will be there. I'm excited about it. Free lunch at Countryside Sheds from 11 to 2. See you in a second.
Get real cutting power and tear through your tree cleanup projects with the fuel-efficient power and comfort of a steel chainsaw from D&B Supply. And right now at D&B Supply, you can get a free carrying case and ball cap with purchase of select steel chainsaws, like the MS-251 18-inch Wood Boss, available for just $349.95. Save big on steel and everything else you need for your projects, only at D&B Supply.
Johnny Ballgame here at MJ Goss Motors for another press conference with financing manager Kyle McCandy. Mr. McCandy.
Ballgame, fire away.
Rumors swirling around about your new Warranty Forever program. Can you confirm?
I can confirm. We're super excited, but better yet, so are our customers.
I heard you skipped out on the last training session?
Training. We're talking about training, not a sale. We're talking about training. Not warranties forever, but we're talking about training. You know what? I'm done with this presser. I got warranties to give away.
Portable electric generators can be very valuable when storms knock out power. This is Chris from Oregon Trail Electric Cooperative, asking you to remember some important things when you are using portable generators. First, place them in a spot where dangerous carbon monoxide fumes can't enter your home. Second, make sure your generator is properly grounded. Finally, never connect the generator directly to your home wiring. Doing this can actually feed electricity back out onto the power line and create very dangerous situations for utility workers. Contact your local OTEC office for more safety tips like this. OTEC, putting our energy to work for you.
It's got that atmospheric feeling to it.
This is Oregon football.
And it is intercepted. Foot race. It's over, baby.
Saturday, the Ducks wrap up non-conference play at home against Montana.
First down and a lot more. There you go. Nope, you're not going to get him.
Kickoff is at 7:30.
Unbelievable.
It's only on your home for Ducks football.
When you hear that roar, it's game time. It's big game time.
Ducks football on Boomer Radio, brought to you by Cricket Wireless, Kurt's RV Service and Repair, and Jerry Shaw with Country Financial.
Hey sports fans, this is Ronald Bond, sports editor at the LeGrand Observer, reminding you to tune in every Wednesday at 5:35 p.m. It's the local sports report on the Johnny Ballgame Show with Observer sports editor Ronald Bond. We dig into EOU and high school sports, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, track. You name it, we cover it. Wednesdays, 5:35 p.m. on the Johnny Ballgame Show. You don't want to miss it.
We depend on our drinking water supply daily, but where does that water come from? Your water provider encourages you to get to know your local water source so together we can protect and preserve it. The investments we make as a community to protect our water source now ensure we have a sustainable drinking water supply for the future. Visit drinktap.org to learn more. This message is brought to you by the American Water Works Association and your local water provider.
The weather is starting to cool, but the special buys at Carpet One Floor & Home are as hot as ever. Right now, save up to $900 on a mattress set with adjustable foundation. And stop counting sheep. Plus, save hundreds on our most popular mattresses during our Hot Buys Summer Mattress Event. The only part of this deal that's not sizzling hot are the mattresses. With advanced cooling gels, these are the coolest, most comfortable mattresses you've ever imagined. Get the sleep you deserve and save big in the process with a mattress from Carpet One Floor & Home. Hot buys and great sleep with no counting sheep.
Tradio. Tune in every Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 a.m. as Cliff Turner hosts Union and Baker County's largest garage sale. Listeners, call and email Cliff with items they have for sale, and he puts their message on the air absolutely free. Tradio is proudly brought to you by My Hearing Centers. Try before you buy, exclusively at My Hearing Centers. Book your free hearing evaluation and free trial today. Call 663-4772. 663-4772.
Shout out to my guys at Fat Guys Fresh Deli in Meridian, Idaho. Chef Wally Lavia. Always got us tuned in. If you're ever headed to the Boise area and you're not stopping by Fat Guys, you're making a huge mistake. Again, any sandwich shop called Fat Guys, trust me, you're going to want to partake. And they always put the show on the big TV there. So appreciate the love out there. Love you guys. I got a big guest coming on. He's a writer for Sports Illustrated, talking about a new book he wrote, $1 Billion Fantasy. You're not going to want to miss this interview on our Farmers Insurance Hotline coming up in about 10 minutes. But first, every Wednesday we do it, and we hope to do it as well as we can and let everybody contribute to the money-making process of gambling on sports. Let's have some fun with this. My 5 bets.
My 5 bets. My 5 bets. La 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 la. My 5 bets.
Every week, 5 college football bets I like. I will have a winning season. That I can promise you. Rough start early on, but I'm starting to get my grips. Last week, a winning week. 3 out of 5 for your boy Ballgame. I hit on Army plus 22.5. I hit on Texas A&M plus 17. I hit on the Oregon State Beavers plus 6.5. I lost. Dang it. Taking Florida State, given 21. They barely won. I'm never betting those yahoos again. And Boise State, they won, but they didn't cover. That spread was 11.5. So this week, let me just say, I never take all favorites. I never do. You can't. But I absolutely love some of the favorites this week. And please let me know if you disagree with some of this. But here are my 5 bets this week. First, Ohio State at Indiana. First off, Justin Fields, Ohio State's quarterback. Gosh, that kid can play. And he's a true sophomore. They have him for this year and then next year before he goes to the NFL draft. And he will go to the NFL draft early. This guy, I think, has a great shot to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think Ohio State's going to lose a game this year. I think they'll be undefeated going into the Big Ten championship. And I think they're going to cover a 16.5-point spread on the road against the Indiana Hoosiers on Saturday. I think it was Ohio State 49, Ohio State 58. This Ohio State Buckeye offense scores almost at ease. And I'm sorry, the Hoosiers aren't going to be able to keep up with them. Take Ohio State. Give the 16.5. Don't worry, they'll cover. I think Ohio State crushes Indiana in Bloomington on Saturday. Take the Buckeyes. Next up, USC at BYU. I've seen BYU play several games. They're coming off a big win against Tennessee that never should have been won. Tennessee, oh my gosh, talk about a dumpster. USC comes to Provo with a ranked 24 spot, I believe, in the polls. -4.5. Look, I think USC, and I don't love USC this year, but Clay Helton is coaching for his job every week. Look, dude, athletic director Lynn Swann just didn't want to be there anymore. I mean, athletic director at USC? That's a pretty good gig, right? You make $1 million a year. It's a pretty good job, right? You're running athletics for USC. He's like, not gonna work here anymore, dude. I'm out. So Clay Helton is on thinner ice. As soon as they hire a new AD, that new AD is going to want his own football coach. And they're going to restore Troy. So Clay Helton has to win as much as he can. I think USC goes to Provo and covers a 4.5-point spread at BYU. I like UFC 27-21. BYU hangs, USC still covers. Next, I was really impressed with Cal last week. They took it to my Huskies. They flat out did. They deserved to win that game. I don't care that the attendance was no one was there. I don't care that they didn't kick the damn thing off basically till 10:30 at night. Cal was the better team, and they deserved to win, and they did. Cal's riding high. It's one of those things that's a huge program victory. Do you build on it or do you let go? Do you lose your touch? Do you read your press clippings a little too much? Do you lose the momentum? I think they're going to keep it. I think they're going to build on it. I think that's what Justin Wilcox is doing. Bo Baldwin, great OC, sharp offensive mind. Cal is good, dude. Hey, Duck fans, Cal comes to Autzen this year, and that's a good thing. It's not going to be an easy game. I like Oregon to win it, but Cal's very respectable. Cal's giving 2 touchdowns, a 14-point spread at home where I would imagine Memorial Stadium will be packed. Come on, Cal fan. You're not going to come watch this team now? They're playing North Texas from, what is that, Conference USA? And I got to give 14 points at home? I mean, Cal, pick up off this Husky momentum, beat the hell out of the North Texas Mean Green 47-17. Crush them, damn near kill them. Take Cal, give the 14. They'll win this game by 15 or more points. I'm feeling good about it. Next. Talked about this in hour number 1, and I love it. UCLA is so bad. They are literally giving 4 extra tickets to every season ticket holder, asking their season ticket holders to pass out free tickets to come to the Rose Bowl and watch Oklahoma. You'd think UCLA could be able to sell a football ticket when the Oklahoma Sooners are in town. Nope, they can't. UCLA, I'm calling it, they will be 0-12 this year. They won't win a game. Oklahoma favored by 23.5. Dude, that's nothing. The only thing that I'm scared of is that Oklahoma treats this as a vacation and not a business trip. The Rose Bowl will have more Boomer Sooner fans than UCLA Bruin fans. It's going to be nice. Who doesn't love a little old lady from Pasadena? Who doesn't love playing in the Rose Bowl? Oklahoma, dot your I's, cross your T's, and hammer the hell out of UCLA and Chip Kelly. I think this thing could be 66-3. I think this thing could be 55-10. I think this thing could be anything Oklahoma wants it to be. Take Oklahoma, give the 23.5. They're going to easily cover over the UCLA Bruins team that I think will not win a game this year. And finally, I like this too. Texas Tech. My boy Matt Wells, formerly of Utah State head coach, he's off to a good start in Lubbock. They got a good team at Texas Tech. They are on the road in Tucson to take on the Arizona Wildcats, who just aren't that good this year. Khalil Tate, we're still kind of waiting for Khalil Tate to be decent at quarterback. He's decent, certainly not a Heisman candidate. Get off it. I think the Big 12 is better than the Pac-12, and I think a mid-level Big 12 team, which is what Texas Tech is, will have little problems against a lower-level Pac-12 team, which is what Arizona is. Take Texas Tech -2.5. This is an easy cover for me. Texas Tech -2.5 against Arizona. There you have it. There you have it. Ohio State -16 at Indiana. I like USC -4.5 at BYU. I like Cal -14 at home versus North Texas. I like Oklahoma on the ROAD in the Rose Bowl, giving 23.5 versus UCLA. And I like Texas Tech -2.5 at Arizona. I never do this, taking 5 favorites, but these are too juicy for me. I think I hit 4 out of 5 this week. I think I get 4 out of 5. I'm loving my picks this week. There you have it. My 5 bets brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Couches, love seats, all types of recliners. Oh, those Tempur-Pedic beds, so stinking comfortable. Go see the Daggetts. Go see Northwest Furniture and Mattress. The tightest furniture selection you're going to find in town. That's my 5 bets. We come back. Albert Chen, Sports Illustrated writer, talking about his new book on the Johnny Ballgame Show.
My 5 bets. My 5 bets. La 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 la. My 5 bets.
It's time now for your local weather forecast. In the Grand tonight, mainly clear conditions, low of 42 degrees. For tomorrow, mainly sunny conditions with a high near 80. In Baker City tonight, mostly clear skies too, low of 42 degrees. And by tomorrow, plenty of sunshine throughout the day with a high near 78. This weather forecast is brought to you by
Grand Ronde Hospital. For more than a century, our goal has been to help you get better so you can get back in the game and on with life.
Grand Ronde Hospital, big city medicine with a hometown touch.
When you fire up a John Deere 1 Series tractor, you can tackle the job without wrestling the attachments. Hook up everything from a front loader to a drive-over mower deck in no time. So you can haul gravel, till soil, cut grass, or do any job in between. Because when things just click, work just gets done. Nothing runs like a Deere. Run with us.
Visit a Tri-County Equipment in Baker City, Enterprise, or LeGrand, or visit us online at tri-countyequipment.com.
Treat yourself and a friend to a date night. Come support the Grand Ronde Symphony at the annual fundraising auction Saturday, September 28th. This year's auction, A Taste of Excellence, will celebrate our Oregon bounty with scrumptious, locally sourced hors d'oeuvres, Barley Brown's beer, Echo Ridge Cellars wine, Sheffield's non-alcoholic cider, and Arrowhead chocolates. And this year's auction follows suit. Bid on a weekend of golf at Sylvie's Valley Ranch, a drink a day from Sorbonauts, amazing local artwork, handmade quilts, and rides on the Eagle Cap excursion train, just to name a few of the experiences that could be yours. Tickets are only $25 per person and can be purchased at Direct Music Source in LeGrand, Betty's Books in Baker City, LeGrand Farmers Market, or online at grandronsymphony.org. There are limited tickets, so get yours before September 20th. Come enjoy a taste of excellence at the annual fundraising auction for the Grand Ronde Symphony, Saturday, September 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Presbyterian Friendship Center in LeGrand. grandronsymphony.org.
It's time to wash off the grime at Island Express Lube and Car Wash. Treat your vehicle to a thorough wash in the gentle touch of the only hand-attended pre-wash in the valley, followed with automated fabric scrub down and finished with the perfect polish, sealant, and wax. Every wash features underspray, keeping your vehicle free of dust, grime, and corrosive buildup. No extra charge, just extra value. And don't forget about Double Punch Tuesdays. Clean and protect now at family-owned Island Express Car Wash in Island City.
Oregon State football has returned to Reser Stadium for head coach Jonathan Smith's second season back with the Beavers. Single game tickets are available starting as low as $24 via phone or in person at the Gill box office. Prices vary by location. Don't miss any of the fantastic action this year. To secure your seats, call a representative at 541-737-2050 or visit beavertickets.com today.
The fact that tomorrow I'm going to wake up and knowing myself, I think the way I do, one of the first things that will enter into my head is it's a game night, Carolina Panthers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, kind of getting back into the swing of things, right? Where you got the TNF, the Thursday night football, adjusting your fantasy teams accordingly. We talk a lot of fantasy football on this show as long as I'm in this business. I'm going to know where the fish are swimming, and I'm going to put my pole in that pond. And I'm telling you, most of my listeners, most of you guys, in some way or another, are playing fantasy sports or gambling or in an office pool. That goes hand in hand in football. And the NFL has embraced gambling more now than it's ever done. The NFL has embraced fantasy more now than it's ever done. You know, my first year playing fantasy football was 1988. They barely had a magazine. We had to look on the back of football cards to get statistics, mailing standings, snail mail style. Now you watch an NFL game, dude, they literally, you don't even have to add the points up. T.Y. Hilton, 14.46 fantasy points, PPR scoring. Like, they give it to you right then and there. That's why I want everybody, okay, to buy this book. We're going to talk to the author in a second. $1 Billion Fantasy, the high-stakes game between FanDuel and DraftKings that upended sports in America. And certainly we know in Oregon, hey, we're just waiting day by day for Oregon Lottery to bring out that app, and we're going to be able to bet on NFL games legally in this state, and I can't wait. Before we do that, let's bring this guy on. You're talking to senior editor at Sports Illustrated, guys. Our Farmers Insurance Hotline, Albert Chen, hanging out with us talking about his new book, and we're going to help him sell a few 100,000 copies, hopefully, today. Albert Chen, you son of a gun from Sports Illustrated, welcome to the Ballgame Show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Dude, I love bringing the Sports Illustrated guys on. Your boy Ben Golliver. Ben Golliver comes on this show all the time. Now he's with the Washington Post, but a former colleague of yours. And this is your first book, Albert. You got 12 cover stories for Sports Illustrated in your career. You went to Yale. Yeah, I went to the University of Idaho, so I know what it's like to go to a highly prestigious institution like Yale. We're basically from the same place, Idaho and Yale. So I want to get your take when you say, hey, this is the first book you've ever written. You had to have an inspiration come from somewhere, because I'm sure you had other ideas for a book at some point in your writing career. What made this topic say, okay, Albert Chen, this is going to be my first book?
Well, you say you started in 1988. You have me beat by a few years, so you got me beat there. I started playing fantasy, I would say maybe a year or two later with my cousin. And, I'm sure kind of similar to your story where, you just kind of make it up and you want to have some skin in the game, even as a kid, growing up following these teams. And so my relationship, I guess, to fantasy sports goes back a really long time. And, I just love fantasy, but then it got to, as I get to SI and I'm working on different stories and kind of answer your book a question about why this book. Well, these two companies exploded in 2015, and they were all over the headlines.
Yep.
And, as a fantasy player, I actually started playing on FanDuel and DraftKings and really liked the product as a longtime fantasy guy. But what I was fascinated with, just from a purely sports business standpoint, just like how these guys raised all this money. And then it turns out, got to know the founders of the companies, and it turns out the actual story is a lot crazier. And in fact, founders at one of the companies, FanDuel, are not like you and me. They were not sports fans, even fantasy sports fans at all. And they came up with this idea, and they're from Scotland. So it's a totally wild story.
What kind of spawned the idea? I mean, in your research, obviously, like they know, gambling and fantasy games or whatever it is. But like you said, they're across the pond. They're in Scotland. American football, they probably couldn't name 10 teams in the NFL, let alone 10 players. And they start this player-friendly site where, you pick your own team, fantasy aspect. Like, what gave them that idea from your research, Albert?
Well, I think it was very much trying to start a company. I mean, they just wanted to have an idea. And I think, for these guys in Scotland, FanDuel came along 3 years before DraftKings came onto the scene. And they had this idea for a news prediction game. And it was like, okay, how are we going to turn this into something that's actually going to make some money for us?
Yeah.
And it turns out, shockingly, sports, I say that sarcastically, sports was people like predicting sports events. And they didn't know anything about fantasy, but they wanted to try this thing out. It was sort of related to fantasy, but not really. This thing where you play every single day and you can win money. Now, does that sound like gambling? Yeah, a little bit. Do they call it fantasy sports? Yeah, if they want it to be legal. So you have this hybrid product that is something that actually, people are into because you can win money. I mean, you and I play these fantasy leagues, and, it's great for trash talking, great for keeping in touch with buddies. I got friends flying in all across the country to New York to do an annual thing. But there are some serious problems with fantasy leagues. I mean, the payoff isn't huge. The season's long. I mean, by August baseball season, you don't want to even look at your team if you're near the bottom of the standings.
Yeah,
they came up with this idea that was actually a mix of, the fantasy aspect, but also gambling.
Albert Chen, senior editor, Sports Illustrated. In reading this book, Albert, we would have a blast together, by the way. We're kind of cut from the same cloth, but I have dudes in my life like you do. If it wasn't for our fantasy league, we just celebrated our 20th anniversary a couple of weeks ago. We all got a house. We rented one Airbnb outside of Seattle, and we had this mega party for 3 days celebrating 20 years of our fantasy league. Half that league, at least, I don't talk to outside of the fantasy season. We say goodbye around the holidays when the fantasy season ends. I really don't even talk to them until hey, July's coming around. Hey, it's a keeper league. So, hey, who are you keeping this year? This and that. And it's crazy how fantasy sports have kept folks together. And you kind of have that same story about, guys that you hang out with. You're kept. You circle the wagons together every year in these fantasy leagues. And outside of that, you wouldn't maintain or keep those friendships. Fantasy sports is a beautiful thing, and you just knew at some point, like when we were playing, like when you said in the 90s, there was only time where this thing was gonna blow up. And it has, and DraftKings and FanDuel were kind of at the, kind of on the front lines of that. And that's kind of where this book goes. But it wasn't necessarily this book, Albert, and I know I'm taking a long time to get to this question. I'm just juiced about this interview. It wasn't all rainbows and unicorns, right? I mean, there was a lot of trials and tribulations for these two companies, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what happens is essentially like they have all this advertising. And I think Trevor Noah at the Daily Show was like, you couldn't turn on your TV set, and this is fall 2015, without seeing a zombie, a Kardashian, or a fantasy football ad, because these guys were on TV every 90 seconds with an ad during September of 2015. And it was just absolutely madness. Now, how is it that two fantasy sports companies that, aren't really fantasy sports, could become so massive? And then you get the media, you get regulators, you get, state attorney generals who are like, you know what, this totally seems like gambling. And they're shut down in a few states. And so, my story is kind of like a little bit about the history of fantasy, a little bit about, the hypocrisy of, lawmakers, but also the leagues, and just like, this was a great thing for everybody until, it wasn't. And then, but what I really wanted to actually get to was just like what it was like to be at the companies, what it was like to be a founder of one of those companies when suddenly you've got this massive target on your back. And here we are now, fast forward, they survive all that. We get to 2019. I'm in New York City. I can take the GW Bridge and go to Jersey, take out my phone, whether it's the William Hill app, FanDuel, or DraftKings, I can place a bet on the New York Mets, not only whether they're going to win or lose this game, but the spread's constantly changing. What's going to happen the next at-bat? I mean, it's totally crazy. And that's the future. That's what you're going to have out there, I think.
Now, Oregon,
in
it's
short
coming.
Order, and that's just the way we're headed.
Yeah, Oregon Lottery, we're just waiting for the announcement. It was supposed to be before week 1. They've had a couple delays, but no, it's coming. There was a Native American casino on the other side of the state that just opened up its first sports book last weekend. So, no, out here in Oregon, we were one of the first states to get behind this. I can't wait. I mean, I always say on the show, I want to live in a world, look, when I go to get gas at the gas station and I go in and buy a couple of scratch tickets, what's different from a couple of scratch tickets versus, hey, I'm going to take the Padres in the over tonight? Like, why can't I just do that? That's a world I want to live in, and I think we're headed in that direction. This is Albert Chen, senior editor at Sports Illustrated. Buy this book, $1 Billion Fantasy, the high-stakes game between FanDuel and DraftKings that upended sports in America. Albert, was there pushback from the NFL, Roger Goodell, that type of thing? I mean, I've always wondered how, all this money is gambled every year on the NFL, and the NFL doesn't get a cut of it, but they do get a lot of attention. How did the NFL see FanDuel and DraftKings and what they were doing?
Well, it took them a long time for them to get on board, but, I think, you make a great point. I mean, they, surprisingly, because given how much they really benefit from this stuff, they really sort of, it was odd. Even fantasy, they just, weren't really totally behind. And that's kind of the legacy of these companies, that they struck all these partnerships with NFL teams, and eventually the league, the NFL was a little bit slower than the NBA, but they eventually, got on board behind this, and the NFL's got some problems. I think everyone's going to be watching football, still 10 years from now, but it's clear that they want to find different ways to engage fans, and, they get it. I mean, whether it's this weird sort of daily fantasy product or if it's gambling, they've got to be on board eventually, and I think it is sort of inevitable that it's happening, so they don't have to do this public dance to pretend that they're against this.
Talk about the Supreme Court ruling in 2018 that allowed for the legalization of sports betting in states across America. And were DraftKings and FanDuel partly responsible for that ruling? Tell me that, Albert Chen.
No, I mean, I wouldn't go crazy with that. I mean, I think that, the Supreme Court, it was a surprise that they heard this case that came out of a case in New Jersey that, they wanted to push for sports gambling in that state. I mean, that's been going on for a while. So, I would say the legacies of FanDuel and DraftKings are more really kind of building an infrastructure, sort of like with, daily fantasy bills and relationships with teams, and really sort of almost from a public opinion standpoint, where, they were front and center, they got in big trouble. And I think maybe, a lot of lawmakers kind of saw this thing and were like, you know what, the public doesn't even care. Most of them actually want to gamble. So this is not something that we're going to crack down on. And, I think so that they played a role. There's no question about it. But, and they may very well have accelerated things. But bigger picture, they're looking ahead. They want to be the two biggest. Well, they each want to be the biggest sports gambling company in America. They're well positioned for that. But, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, why? Okay, what's with the advertising gone? I mean, that mega blitz of 2015, you were right on that. And again, get this book, guys, $1 Billion Fantasy. You don't see the ads anymore. Why is that? And, how are these companies, FanDuel and DraftKings, how profitable are these things right now?
Well, they're not very profitable because of just still the law. I mean, the daily fantasy product, you just want to talk about that. I mean, I think it kind of was limited in terms of the upside and at the end of the day, the customers that they would have. I mean, it's all about spending money still in terms of, creating companies that are going to be able to take every bet in America, and they that's what they want to do. They want to be the place that if you take out your phone in a bar, okay, I'm going to DraftKings, okay, I'm going to FanDuel, because that moment is happening where, you're at a sports bar and you can put money to just make the night a little bit more interesting. So, I think these two companies are very well positioned for that. It's going to be a new reality. I mean, people are going to try to figure out sort of who are the bigger players here, but these two companies are very well positioned. They've got the technology. But, there always are bigger forces at work. Look, does an Amazon or a Facebook get into this as it becomes really massive? Potentially. Media companies are looking at it too. But it's going to be really interesting.
Senior editor, Sports Illustrated, Albert Chen. You're an economics major from Yale. What got you into journalism, dude?
I was, first of all, I was a terrible student and econ at Yale, so it wasn't meant for me. I mean, I always loved sports. I love writing. I mean, I really like what I do, working at Sports Illustrated and working on stories and talking to guys like you about, topics like this. So this is sort of my wheelhouse. And journalism, look, I mean, it's a tough industry, but if you can make something out of it, it's pretty good. And so, to be able to watch sports and talk about it and also just cover some amazing stories, things have worked out pretty well.
I'm with you, man. Albert, before we get you out of here, I read your bio, 12 cover stories around in your time at Sports Illustrated. Do you have one that you would put in a time capsule, one cover story that you've written for Sports Illustrated that stands above the others? Give me one that's very, very special to you.
Well, I would say there were a few. The biggest one I would say for me, just because I was kind of starting out as a writer, was, I can't remember the year anymore, but I did a big story on Josh Hamilton, the Rangers outfielder, and it was when he was going through his problems. It was about his incredible comeback from all his problems as a prospect, and that was, for me, big because I hadn't really done a story on a big player like that, but it was also a chance for me to kind of stretch myself because it was just incredible backstory there. So I would point to that one. I mean, there have been a number of memorable ones, probably many others that more people have read, but the Josh Hamilton story definitely sticks out to me.
In your opinion, what's the greatest cover in Sports Illustrated history? And I know I'm almost apologizing for asking you because there's so many. My just a guess for me, impactful cover in Sports Illustrated was Mike Tyson crawling on his hands and knees looking for his mouthpiece when Buster Douglas knocked him out in February of 1990. I'll never forget that cover. I was in 5th grade. What is it for you? Just an iconic SI cover that first thing that pops into your head, Albert?
Well, for me, I grew up in Nebraska, so I could just rattle off all the Nebraska Cornhuskers covers through the years. I mean, certainly when they won their first national championship, in at least in my era, Tom Osborne, being carried off the field at the Orange Bowl, that is certainly, to me, I'm going to have fond memories of that, but that's purely because I am a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan, and that one's always 1995, the championship.
One of the great teams, man. Those back-to-back, those Tom Osborne teams, man. That was a lot of fun. Hey, guys, buy this book, $1 Billion Fantasy, the high-stakes game between FanDuel and DraftKings that upended sports in America. You've just heard the author, Sports Illustrated senior editor Albert Chen on this program. Hey, pleasure interviewing you today. I was excited about this book. I appreciated being able to read it, and I'm a huge fantasy geek like you are. I've been prepping for this interview for a while. Thanks, Albert. I appreciate you coming on our show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, and let's do it again.
Absolutely. I got your info, so I'll be in touch.
Sounds great.
Cool, man. Albert Chen, senior editor, Sports Illustrated. Can't have too many friends in the business that work for Sports Illustrated. Always handy guys to have on shows. So that guy will probably be coming back. I got his number. We'll bring a Sports Illustrated senior editor back on the show at some point. I've talked about this a lot. You've probably heard this story. Like back in the day, in the 90s and the 80s, if you're a big sports fan, and I was, and a lot of you were too, sometimes getting that issue of Sports Illustrated was like a big thing. I remember, getting off the school bus, running back to my parents' house, opening up the mailbox, seeing the Sports Illustrated that arrived. Yes. I mean, there was a time that was you had your newspaper, your morning paper, and you had Sports Illustrated. That was the internet. And making the cover of Sports Illustrated was a mega deal. And I get it. That business, look, it's gone. It's passed us by in a number of regards. I said this a few months ago. I canceled my subscription to Sports Illustrated, and I had been a subscriber to Sports Illustrated for over 20 years. I wasn't reading it anymore. It's just collecting up space in my bathroom. I wasn't reading it. And it was sad. And the last 3 years, I kept with the subscription because I'm just I can't. But again, that business is tough in the magazine world. And you look at Sports Illustrated now, most of their stuff is online. Intelligently. It's online. And, but there was a time, man, where it didn't get any bigger than Sports Illustrated. That interview brought to you by Greg Blackman at Farmers Insurance, full service and for insurance agency. He'll insure anything. Pets. Yeah, He'll insure pets, don't you, Greg? You insure people's dogs, right? Motorcycles, home, auto, renter, business, farm, ATV, boat. Greg Blackman, Farmers Insurance, affordable. Swing by and see GB. Ballgame Show, Benchwarmers Pub and Grill. I will see you in 90 seconds.
Listen up and listen in all the time to your favorite news talk station, Super Talk 1450 and 1490, the talk of Eastern Oregon. It's online streaming, available at supertalkradio.com. Whether smartphone, tablet, or computers, stream your Super Talk when and where you want it. Streaming on Super Talk Radio, sponsored by Nate Conklin State Farm Insurance, LeGrand. Let Nate Conklin and his team of highly trained professionals give you the peace of mind and value for all your insurance needs.
It's time now for a community calendar update. The Baker City Farmers Market is open every Wednesday afternoon from 3 to 6:30 p.m. at the Court Avenue Plaza in downtown Baker City. Stop by each week for local produce, vegetables, live music, and more. Visit BakerCityFarmersMarket.com to follow along with what's being added each week. The Elgin Lions Club holds bingo each Wednesday evening at the Elgin Community Center. Doors open just before 6 p.m. and play starts at 6:30. Concessions will also be available. The Meals on Wheels program in Union County is in need of volunteers to deliver meals to seniors at their homes. The time investment is only about 2 hours per week. If you're interested in helping out, stop by the Community Connection of Union County office at 1504 North Albany Street in LeGrand or call 541-963-7532. This community calendar update is brought to you by LeGrand Gold and Silver, family owned and managed, and your trusted local experts for fine jewelry and precious metals. Shop LeGrand Gold and Silver's full line of quality jewelry, gifts, and coins.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We'll get local with our Napa Auto Parts local sports update with Observer Sports editor Ronald Bond. Friday Night Lights now just around the corner. EOU kicks off their home football season at Community Stadium on Saturday. And yes, yours truly, I am the new EOU play-by-play broadcaster for home games on their internet stream. So you're going to watch EOU football on the internet stream, and you're going to see your boy, not Johnny Ballgame, John Mallory on the call. Really excited to kick that season off with EOU. But we'll talk about all this stuff with Ronald Bond. But first, though, another reminder. I'm going to talk about this again next hour, too. Just talked to my boy Pete today. Him and his crew are pumped. Hot dogs, burgers, they've bought it all. Why? Well, they're giving you a free lunch tomorrow for their open house. I'm talking about Countryside Sheds, 10505 North McAllister. That's just the corner of Highway 82 and North McAllister. Sheds, cabins, garage, animal shelters, greenhouses. You've driven by it probably 20 times. Get there tomorrow for the free lunch. We'll be back. Here's the news.
From the Banner Bank Studio, the talk of Eastern Oregon, Super Talk Radio, KLBM LeGrand,
Asylum curb,
KBKR,
athletes fair
Baker
pay.
City.
I'm Barbara Cusack. The U.S. Supreme Court has reinstated a Trump administration curb on asylum seekers.
That means if they come through another country, they must first try to get asylum there. It targets Central Americans and immigrants from other continents that might try to come through Mexico or Canada to the border. Democrats have roundly criticized the policy as inhumane and not keeping with the symbol and words on the Statue of Liberty. Earlier in the day, the administration announced people from the hurricane-battered Bahamas will not be given special temporary protected status to enter. Bob Costantini, Washington.
The U.S. has agreed to delay increasing tariffs on $250 billion worth of Chinese imports from October 1st to October 15th as a gesture of goodwill. President Trump said the postponement came about at the request of China's vice premier as the People's Republic of China will be celebrating their 70th anniversary. The administration's plan to ban all flavored e-cigarettes has drawn support in the Senate, as correspondent Jerry Bodlander reports.
Senator Richard Durbin says flavored e-cigarettes clearly target children.
How in the world can you imagine that someone who is a 50-year-old chain smoker trying to quit is going to go choose a flavor pod called unicorn milk or bubble gum or gummy bears? They're all out there. They're designed to lure children, and sadly, they are effective.
Preliminary government data shows that more than a quarter of the country's high school students used e-cigarettes this year.
Lawmakers have sent California's governor a bill to allow athletes at state colleges to hire agents and sign endorsement deals. The action sets up a confrontation with the NCAA that could jeopardize the athletic futures of powerhouse programs like USC, UCLA, and Stanford. Divers found the body of the last missing victim from the dive boat fire off the Southern California coast that claimed 34 lives. The Dow up at the close, 228 points. The S&P adding 22. The Nasdaq rose by 86 points. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Underage vaping is a serious problem. Last year, Juul Labs took actions to combat it, including stopping the sale of our non-traditional flavored Juul products to retail stores. Now we're going further with a series of new actions, including a retail age verification system stricter than anything in place for alcohol or cigarettes. Combating youth vaping is the right thing to do and necessary for us to achieve our goal of providing an alternative for the world's 1 billion adult smokers. Learn more at juul.com/YP. Paid for by Juul Labs.
Do you ever wonder what you'd do if you couldn't just switch on the heat when it got cold? Or start your car each morning? Or afford toilet paper? Or laundry detergent? Or milk? Well, for plenty of hardworking folks right here in our community, these are everyday realities, every day of the year. But when you give to the Salvation Army, you help your neighbors in need win the battle to thrive. Want to join this fight for good? Please visit givewestwood.org to make a donation to the Salvation.
It's time now for your local weather forecast. In the Grand tonight, mainly clear conditions, low of 42 degrees. For tomorrow, mainly sunny conditions with a high near 80. In Baker City tonight, mostly clear skies too, low of 42 degrees. And by tomorrow, plenty of sunshine throughout the day with a high near 78. This weather forecast is brought to you by
Grand Ronde Hospital. Thank you for placing your health in our hands and giving us the opportunity to serve you.
Grand Ronde Hospital, big city medicine with a hometown touch.
The heat is on at D&B Supply with big savings available on wood, pellet, and gas stoves and inserts. Get fired up for the change of seasons with a Quadrifire, Harmon, Vermont Castings, or Heat and Glow stove or insert for an easy, safe way to update that look of your home and heat it more efficiently. Plus, get a $200 online coupon for select stoves and inserts. See store for details and find these hot deals from September 5th through October 3rd only at D&B Supply.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care. I ever get back, so let's root for the home team. They don't win, it's a shame. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
The Johnny Ballgame.
Appreciate everybody. Welcome back. Johnny Ballgame Show, Bench Warmers, Pub and Grill. This is kind of the first time this week that we're making this a 3-hour tour. Matter of fact, I think I got to go back to last Wednesday for the last time this was a 3-hour tour. We had Thursday night football. We had Friday night Boise State game. We had Monday and Tuesday Rip City rallies. So it feels good to turn the mic on at 5:05 p.m. For my chuckleheads out there. Let's get right to it this hour. It's going to be packed. We get local on Wednesdays at this time, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. You're the best in parts, the best in prices. Go see Jerry and the crew at Napa Auto Parts, downtown LeGrand, formerly Blue Mountain Auto Parts, now just Napa Auto Parts. Everything you're going to need. Look, Ronald, I'm not I think you could tell I'm Ronald Bond hanging out with this LeGrand Observer sports editor. I'm not.
What's up, Johnny's chuckleheads?
I'm not an auto tech. Matter of fact, I need questions when I'm putting on a wiper blade. But
you probably have to ask questions to turn over the key. Let's be honest.
Bondage. Screw you, man. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Napa Auto Parts can help me.
You know, Napa has really good headlight fluids, correct? You know, that's the place to get headlight fluid.
Are you trashing my sponsors over here, Bondy boy?
I'm trying to trash you.
You know, they sponsor. Yeah. Or it's like calling a sporting goods store saying, "Hey, do you have any left-handed tennis rackets?"
or left-handed basketball.
Yeah, okay, left-handed basketball, left-handed footballs.
My favorite's the left-handed baseball bat.
Left-handed baseball bat.
That's my personal favorite.
That's a good one, too. Ladies and gentlemen, every Wednesday from the LeGrand Observer, pick up a copy, subscribe, go to legrandobserver.com, and a wonderful sports section this guy runs at the Observer. Welcome back, Ronald Bond, and here we go. I mean, you're underway for this season. The Observer came out with their annual kind of football preview, all the teams, and there's a lot of them to talk about. I want to start with EOU, and we'll continue to the preps a little bit. And if we have time for some other sports, let's get those in too. But first off, I mean, you hate to say their season was on the line because it's week 2, but last week, EOU goes down to Ashland to face a ranked Southern team. A loss would have put them at 0-2 at the bottom of the frontier, and that's a big hole, as you know, you've covered this league a long time, to climb out of. Fortunately, that's not going to be the case because you're talking one of the bigger wins that program's had considering the circumstances in quite some time. EOU goes to Ashland, defeats Southern last week. Bondi, that was a big win.
That was a very big win. And the way they did it was impressive. Comeback win. Kai Quinn threw the game-winning touchdown with 10 seconds left to quarterback turned wide receiver, Sage Wilkerson.
Yep.
So that got them the 24-21 win. Continued actually a really fascinating trend in that rivalry. The road team, the last 14 games in that rivalry, has won 11 times. And Eastern
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I saw that stat.
Eastern has won in Ashland 5 out of the last 7 years. It's crazy just that how much of a road the home field advantage does not exist in the small school Civil War. And exactly why, I'm not entirely certain, but it's just it's kind of a fascinating stat. And yes, you're correct. Had they been 0-2 versus 1-1 going into this week, you're looking at a major hill to climb up. Not only just from the the playoff situation of, okay, can they rattle this off to go into make another playoff run, but from the standpoint of just being completely, I don't want to say completely demoralized, but a lot less momentum and a lot less of a positive attitude, which plays a major role. 1-1 versus 0-2, and the way they won that game.
Yeah, and the Benchwarmers Beer Garden at Community Stadium is going to be packed for the home opener. When you're 1-1, coming off, like you said, a small Civil War victory, the community's fired up. I mean, everyone's excited. All your goals are still right there to win this conference and get back to the playoffs like they did in 2016. I'm pumped for this season. I know everybody was excited about this team. What happened in Caldwell 2 weeks ago? I mean, is C of I just that tough? And I know they are. Coach Morosky does a terrific job, but how have you put your finger on that? Because C of I absolutely handled EOU 2 weeks ago in the opener.
I actually asked, I was at their practice yesterday, Eastern's practice, and actually asked Coach Camp that because, I mean, the defense from week 1 to week 2 was night and day. And, Camp always takes the blame if a losses for the losses, and he basically his quote was, "I can offer excuses, but basically I just didn't get them. I just didn't get prepared enough."
Okay,
is essentially
that's total Coach Camp, right?
Yeah, it's exactly Coach Camp. He always gives the players the credit. I
mean, if you want an excuse, I'll give you an excuse, but here's the reason. I love it.
And he also pointed out yesterday too when I talked to him, and he's said this in the past. You see the most growth in a team in between its first game and its second game, from week 1 to week 2, because that first game you've gotten a chance to get on the field, see what's going on, then you can begin to tweak and fine-tune. So, I mean, now granted, part of it is Southern doesn't have the ground game that C of I has, but they went from allowing C of I to rush for, I believe, 377 yards to Southern rushing for 96.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
They held Southern to, I believe, the fewest yards EOU has allowed in a game since, I believe it was 2000, sometime during the 2017 season.
Completely stuffed that run.
The defense was, the defense was much better. They're going to need to continue to do that against a, what is always tough, physically minded Montana Tech team coming into town Saturday.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that. But again, a big victory last week in the small school Civil War, EOU beating SOU. And
We never have said the score, have we? I mean,
they
know
24-21.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Your chuckleheads, I'm certain, know that. But
yeah, my fans are the most educated sports fans of any talk show in the in the Pacific Northwest.
Any talk show in Northeast Oregon,
no
right?
question. Yeah. We're the most popular sports show in Northeastern Oregon, and you're a part of it.
Yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it.
Montana Tech, like you said, never easy. Tim Camp is 11-9 against the Techsters in his career here at EOU. All-time, Montana Tech has the series. That doesn't mean much. EOU took these guys out the last time they played last year, I believe. Talk to me about this game. What's Montana Tech's record coming in? How have they looked? Give my listeners who are going to get to Community Stadium, that's a 1 p.m. kickoff, Mountie fans. What type of game should they see? What type of opponent is coming in, Bondi?
Well, Tech is always a very physical team. They're run-first offense. Last few years, they've been either number 2 or number 3 in the conference in rushing yards. They've got a very solid running back in Jed Fike, who I don't have it in front of me, but I believe has led the conference in rushing the last 2 seasons, or been right up there at the top. But something interesting that I found yesterday in kind of researching on them, when they've been at their best is when they're able to air it out, or not air it out, but have some balance, running and passing, which is probably appropriate for a lot of teams, but. Their one game, so far they've only played C of I, played them at home, lost 28-14. I mean, if there is a saving grace that Eastern fans want to look at, because they might look at that, okay, much closer game that they put up against C of I than the Mounties did.
Yeah.
They allowed C of I to also run for something over like 320, 330 yards. So C of I clearly has a good.
They're good, man. I mean, I think the Yotes are. Yeah, they're going to be a tough out this year.
They're going to be a very tough out this year. I'm really curious to see how. I believe they host Southern on Saturday. I'm really curious to see how that game.
Yeah, Southern's got to go to Caldwell. Mm-hmm. That is a very interesting scoreboard watch.
That's an intriguing one to keep an eye on as well. But you're going to see a lot of Jed Fike, who rushed for 96 or 97 yards last weekend. Jet Campbell is their quarterback. He threw for 217 and a score. And their primary receiver, and who players told me they've got to watch on the edges this weekend is Trevor Hoffman, a sophomore.
Trevor Hoffman is he a closer?
He's a
good changeup.
I think just a good fastball. And I understand that he still had some eligibility, so he's coming back. So 47 years old, back from baseball and now trying some football out. But all jokes aside, it's always physical when they play them. Coach Camp even said that yesterday. It doesn't matter if it's a good Tech team playing a bad EOU team or vice versa. It's going to be a physical matchup, and so just like with every football game, it's going to come down to that battle in the trenches. So.
That's going to be a big one. Saturday, 1 p.m. Again, if you can find a way to watch on the stream, your boy Johnny Ballgame will transform into John Mallory for my debut as the EOU online stream play-by-play broadcaster. I'm excited to work with Gib Pollard over there and that whole crew. And
how excited are you for that, to call it EOU game?
I love calling games. The last football game I've called would have been an Eagle High School game in Boise. Would have been like the 2014 or 2015 football season.
So it's been a few.
It's been a couple of years. I called Idaho Vandal football for a time in the day, D1 FBS stuff, and I'm really excited to call football. Friday night, I'm going home. I'm going to design my play chart. I'm going to put on a pot of coffee and get everything ready, and I will be juiced on Saturday to get to Community Stadium to call that game. And hopefully I can, maybe bring Bondi up for a little halftime bondage on that show. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll see if we can make that work.
Before we get to the prep scene, we have, Khaki Moorhead doing another fabulous job with EOU volleyball. They look to be national contenders. I know there's a lot of season left. Give me a quick EOU fall sports roundup, if you will, Bondi boy.
Well, you mentioned the EOU volleyball team. Polls that just came out today, they moved up to number 8 in the nation. They're currently sitting at 12-1. have their home opener against C of I tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. So make sure you guys are at Quinn Coliseum for that. That's going to be a fun game. The last time EOU actually played at home on the volleyball court was against C of I last fall, and the Yotes stole a 5-setter. So it's going to be a good matchup. The other team to really keep an eye on, and obviously all their teams are performing well right now, the EOU women's soccer team today just gained its highest NAIA ranking ever. They moved up to 7th in the nation.
That's not too shabby.
They just wrapped up their preseason, which was against 4 top 25 teams, including number 9, number 10, and number 12 in that group, and they wrapped that stretch 3-0-1. So they're looking really solid. The men's team is coming off of a road win against the number 11 team in the nation last week down in California. The cross-country teams start on Friday out at Lane Farm, so everything is really getting up and running for Eastern, and I'm really intrigued with that volleyball team and that women's soccer team being ranked 7th and 8th, or I guess in the order I listed them, 8th and 7th in the nation. What they're going to do and how legitimate of not only conference title contenders are, but how legitimate are they to make a run at the national level if and when they get there. More of when rather than if.
Okay, seems like a pretty good fall sports season on the horizon for EOU. We're living in like this for a lot of people who grew up in this area, and they remember when EOU was in the NCAA 3A. I'm sorry, Division 3, rather than the NAIA, and when they were a non-scholarship entity and this and that. A lot of people grew up in this town where EOU wasn't much of a factor, dude. They didn't win much in any sport, and we're in this era right now for whatever the reasons may be. We're talking they're going to have one of the top NAIA facilities in the country when they build that field house. I don't know where they are with that, but the field turf coming in.
I believe they're breaking ground on that in the next month.
That's why I love having you on the show, you slick Willie son of a gun. You bring it, Bondage. But yeah, EOU's competitive, if not like outright dangerous at just about every sport in that conference now.
I don't think there is a fall sport that you can point at and say they're going to be a pushover. They're going to be anything. I mean, the men's soccer team might have it a little bit tougher just because of how strong the Cascade Conference is, but they were 4th, if I recall correctly, in the CCC last year, so they're going to be good. The Frontier Conference is always tough, but Eastern knows how to win in the Frontier Conference. So the cross-country teams one is nationally ranked, the other is the women's team is just outside the top 25. So every fall program has something to offer this season. So, what they actually do with it once it gets into the postseason and whatnot is, obviously remains up for grabs and to be seen. But I think there's going to be a couple conference titles coming in the next couple months, maybe more.
Seems like that's the case with the fall, the winter and spring sports season. EOU just on a terrific run, sport for sport, men and women, and it's a fabulous time to be an EOU Mountie fan. No question.
Now it's just a matter of when does a program bring home that elusive national championship?
The natty, no question.
And I think there's some. I think you could have some teams in that mix this fall.
He's the Observer sports editor, Ronald Bond. Follow him on Twitter at LGO Bond. Go to LeGrandObserver.com. Pick up a copy. Better yet, just subscribe. You want to have a local community paper, you need to subscribe for them to stick around and do what they're doing. And they've been here. How long has the Observer been covering topics here in the Grand Ronde Valley? Like over 100 years.
1896.
Right? I mean, you want to keep this stuff around, guys. You got to support it. So how about we venture off into the prep scene when we come back? You got another segment in you, Bondi?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Ball game show, bench warmers, pub, and grill. Don't go anywhere.
The most remarkable accomplishments in life start out as conversations, ideas and goals based on inspirations. And the same is true for your financial future. I'm Catherine Bailey, your Baker City Edward Jones financial advisor, and it's my privilege to learn your personal goals and aspirations. Contact me 541-523-6369 and let's start the conversation today, because it's never too early or late to invest in your tomorrow. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Tune in to the Under the Hood Show, America's favorite car talk show, every Sunday morning from 9 to 11 on KLBM 1450 and KBKR 1490. The Under the Hood Show is sponsored by Shaw's Auto Body in LeGrand. Get your vehicle back to its original condition at Shaw's Auto Body in LeGrand. The Under the Hood Show every Sunday morning from 9 to 11 on Super Talk Radio, the talk of Eastern Oregon. KLBM 1450 and KBKR 1490.
When you list your property with Ranch and Home Realty in LeGrand, you're listing with the most trusted name in real estate, and you're listing with the most experienced agency. They have over 60 years of experience successfully listing and selling local properties. Phil, Carolyn, and John aggressively market your property through the mega listing sites, social media, and key local real estate mediums. With that kind of experience, it's no wonder Ranch and Home Realty is your most trusted realty group. Move from listed to closed with Ranch and Home Realty.
Summer is hot, and so are the deals at Legacy Ford. Like 0% financing and up to 20% off MSRP on select models. Now don't forget Legacy offers the best service deal in town with $20 gas and $60 diesel oil changes. Plus, free check engine light diagnosis. Find out why Legacy Ford is a 7-time President's Exceptional Service Award winner with Hot Summer Savings event right now. Visit LegacyFord.net to schedule your appointment online or call 963-2161 today.
It's time now for a community calendar update. The LeGrand Farmers Market takes place every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. until noon at Mack Square in downtown LeGrand, and every Tuesday afternoon from 3:30 to 6. Enjoy fresh local produce, baked goods, arts, crafts, live demonstrations, music, and more. For a schedule of upcoming events, visit legrandfarmersmarket.org. Grand Ronde Radio Amateurs Association is inviting everyone to attend their monthly business meeting every fourth Tuesday of the month. The meeting is held at the LeGrand Fire Station classroom starting at 6 p.m. If you have ever been interested in ham radio or are curious about it, this is a great meeting to attend to ask questions about the hobby and the service. For more information, contact Tyson at 541-910-2784 or visit w7gra.org. This community calendar update is brought to you by LeGrand Gold and Silver, family-owned and managed, and your trusted local experts for fine jewelry and precious metals. Shop LeGrand Gold and Silver's full line of quality jewelry, gifts, and coins.
Sports update with Observer Sports Editor Ronald Bond. Let me shout out again, and I know, Bondy, nobody loves a hot dog or a burger as much as you do. Maybe Dodsey. But how about this? Tomorrow, Countryside Sheds is having its open house and free lunch for all comers from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's 10505 North McAllister. Just on the corner of Highway 82 in North McAllister. Countryside Sheds and their lineup, sheds, cabins, garages, animal shelters. Look, so many people are spending money every single month on a storage shed or what have you. Go to Countryside Sheds. Just have it in your backyard. It's right then and there. Stop pouring money every single month into the local storage shed facility. Go to countrysidesheds.com, and heck yeah, I will see you there tomorrow. Free lunch. Bondy, what do you think about this? Free lunch, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're going to sit together. We're going to hang out. Maybe we'll wrestle around a little bit. It's going to be great, man. Free lunch tomorrow. We'll be there.
I'm all down for free lunch. Whether or not I'll be able to make it just because of how much I've got to finish up tomorrow. But I know you'll be there. You'll clearly be there. You're all about this.
Yeah, Pete and the crew do a fabulous job at Countryside Sheds. Go to countrysidesheds.com.
I rarely pass up a free meal, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, those sheds are gorgeous to have. You just go to their website. And tomorrow, free lunch. Countryside Sheds. Free lunch, free lunch, free lunch. Open house is going to be fun.
For lunch? Can you make that like a one word? Like for lunch? For lunch?
I love it, man.
For
Those
lunch?
guys do a terrific job. Okay. LeGrand High School, Friday night at the Dalles. Hopefully people are going to make that trip. You said this 3 weeks ago, a month ago. You came on this show and you said, you know what, I think LeGrand has the best chance it's had to capture a state championship since it won the state championship back in '74. the schedule, I think, computes. The schedule's easy, let's be honest. Eyeballing it, my producer Dodsey was saying this is the easiest schedule he's ever seen LeGrand have. Now, that doesn't take away from how good the team is. I just look at the schedule like if there was a point spread, they're going to be favored in every game until the playoffs.
And probably double-digit favorites.
Double-digit favorites.
I mean, if I'm putting a point spread on the Dowls Friday, it's probably like 21.
Yeah, right? I mean, this is a heck of a squad they have, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be headed to the Dallas to cover this game or to watch this game like you are. But yeah, talk about this. The season, if they can stay healthy and they can stay the course, stay focused, I think Coach McElmoyle, with the job he's doing, the offensive, the system, like you said, so many guys are back. They got like over 20 seniors on this time, which is such a rarity for LHS. Man, look out. There's going to be trouble for the Dallas this weekend, Bobby.
And I think I said this on the air 3 weeks ago, too. If there was a time for LeGrand to do something on the football field, it's this year. I don't want to say it's a now or never thing, but, I mean, with the number of seniors they have, when you have a quarterback like Parker Robinson, when you have a running back like Nathan Reed, when you have an offensive and defensive line like they had, I mean, they really controlled the battle in the trenches. Granted, a few times that Pendleton could slip through, but they held Pendleton to 33 yards rushing and had 182 on conversely. And Parker Robinson then goes and throws for 248 yards. So they can do it on the ground. They can do it in the air. They've got good defense. They forced 4 turnovers. They really, the one thing that kept Pendleton even remotely in that game was LeGrand turned the ball over 3 times themselves. If they're able to clean up the turnovers, I don't see them having any issue against the Dowls coming up Friday. And like you said, they're going to be heavy favorites in every game. I mean, Ontario and Baker are going to want to argue against that. But they're going to have to show it on the field.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a good season so far, off to a great start. Talk about the Pendleton win. Just the second time LeGrand has defeated Pendleton in football since the early 90s.
But second time in 3 years now.
And second time in 3 years. Gosh, isn't that crazy? LeGrand is all of a sudden getting the better of Pendleton in football. That just was never a thing for so long.
What would be a really fun game is this year's LeGrand team against last year's Pendleton team.
That
could
be
be interesting.
Be a great game. I mean, you can go back to Pendleton. Bob Lilly, people call the greatest Dallas Cowboy player ever, played at Pendleton. I mean, they have a rich history in football. You didn't know that, huh? You're looking at
Nope, that's not one I was aware of.
Bob Lilly's a Pendleton Buckaroo. Yep. But anyway, anywhere, not here, not there. The area communities, go back to the Pendleton win. Just obviously we've touched on the historic side of it, but just a mega win for the program. It's not a league win, but heck yeah, certainly something to celebrate.
Yeah, definitely a psyche win too, especially the way they went up and played at Pendleton last year when they got smothered up there. I mean, they were not in that game last year. I don't remember. Parker Robinson got sacked like 7 times or 12 times in the game last year. It was just an astronomical number, something that you don't want to give up. But kind of like I was just saying, they handled the battle in the trenches pretty well. Nathan Reed went for over 100. Parker threw for nearly 250. Spread the ball out well to several of his receivers. Gabe Shuckle, the cover boy for the Kickoff magazine, if you got the Union County version, had a pick 6. So the defense played very well. Everything clicked well if you're a LeGrand Tiger fan. Again, you clean up the turnovers, and that is probably that might be a 43-7 or 50-14 type of score if LeGrand cleans up the turnovers. 3 turnovers led to I think 9 of the 14 points that 8 of the 14 points. I can't do math. Led to 8 of their points that Pendleton had. So, I mean, like I said, you clean that up, and that's an even more dominant win. And those are things turnovers are things that, for the most part, LeGrand is able to control.
Ronald Bond, LeGrand Observer sports editor, every Wednesday for our Napa Auto Parts local sports update here. Last week, Elgin and Imbler, like I say every week, I love the fact that these small communities have all decided to go to 8-man football so they can play in their own conference and they can play each other every year. It cuts travel. It adds camaraderie. It adds community. It adds the guys talking at Joe Beans and at bench warmers about, hey, you got an Elgin Elgin alum against an Imbler alum saying, hey, we're going to get you Friday night. Heck yeah. Talk about the area schools. Who's looked good so far, Bondi?
Well, Elgin looked very good. 58-20, really controlled the game against Imbler. Tristan Simpson, the Elgin quarterback, had 352 yards combined, passing and rushing, accounted for 6 touchdowns. They are going to be dangerous. They very well might be the best team as in 1A as far as the Union County, Wallowa County areas teams are concerned. Really curious to see how they match up in a potential district playoff matchup against the likes of a Doofer or an Adrian
powerhouses at that level.
Yeah.
Doofer and Adrian are powerhouses at that level.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking right there, Doofer and Adrian. You're talking the last 5 teams to win a 1A state championship. Adrian back in 14, and then Doofer in 15, 16, 17, and 18. So, I mean, those are very traditionally strong programs. Interesting, Adrian and Doofer actually played week 1, and Adrian beat Doofer by, I believe, 60 points. It was like 66-8. Now, Doofer had a major injury in that game, but that ends what was like a 30-some-odd game winning streak, and, I think that shows that Adrian will be a tough out this year as well. We'll see what happens with Doofer once they get healthy. I totally expect them to be back, but Elgin will be strong. They host Cove on Friday.
Elgin versus Cove. Cove at Elgin. Okay, what
Cove
else
at
we
Elgin
got?
on Friday. Union and Imbler play Friday night at EOU. That should be an interesting game. And I don't have it in front of me, but I believe you've got the kickoff magazine in front of me. Is Wallowa, I believe, is at North Powder on Friday. Will you double check on that?
Yeah, we can double check on that again.
Powder Valley.
Yeah, and luckily, Wallowa at Powder on Friday as well. And that's the beauty, again, these community schools are all playing each other now.
And Wallowa Powder looks improved. Wallowa is obviously in kind of rebuilding / retooling mode, so that'll be a fascinating game as well.
Let's take some calls. Farmers Insurance Hotline, that's 541-963-4122. Anything you want to mention on the prep scene, the EO scene, this is your opportunity. Speak now or forever hold it. The local sports update, Napa Auto Parts. First caller of the program, welcome this segment. We appreciate having you. What you got for us?
Ballgame, it's your favorite caller, Osseo Joe. Gotta give a shout out to you, my man.
I appreciate you, Osseo. What you got on your mind today, my friend?
Oh, my God. I know this is the local sports scene. I think you got a guest in studio right now, if I'm not mistaken.
I do,
Oh, man. Osseo Joe's predictions, once again, do not come true.
Give it to us, man.
Oh, my God. Packers won. I mean, but they beat the Bears. They're going to get killed this weekend in Lambeau against the Vikings.
Okay.
The Steelers, Johnny, they're in trouble, dude.
I have a Packer fan. My guest, Osseo, the local sports writer here, he's a huge Packer fan, dude. He is shaking his head at you right now. It's hilarious.
But the Packers did not look that great against the Bears, let's be honest. I mean,
defense?
The defense was, but I mean, to score 10 points and win a game is,
yeah, and
we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
They scored 10 points, but now, I mean, you got to go look. Dalvin Cook's going to have like a game against that defense.
He looked really
the
good.
Bears, they don't have a running game.
The Bears don't have a passing game either.
That's true. I mean, Kirk Cousins is going to exploit them, I think. And, every Sunday, every Friday at work in Packer Country, I rep my Dalvin Cook, my good old Florida State boy jersey at work. I get the head nods every day.
Hey, Osseo, you got out of pest control. You were in pest control for a couple of years. You got tired of, going into houses and cleaning out rats and bats and raccoons and stuff.
You name it.
What was the worst call? What was the worst work order when you were working for the Orkin Man? What was the worst work order you ever went on, and why?
It was probably my first order ever as an Orkin man. I'm training with my boy David Moline, avid listener of your show here in Wisconsin, up your YouTube channel. I got to get him on the Ballgame show.
Love you, David.
Dude, we got this call to go to this hotel, and it's a little motel. It's got about 32 rooms. that you could book in this hotel.
Yeah.
In the great city of La Crosse, Wisconsin. You know, it's kind of one of those like long stay extended trucker hotels.
Dude. Yeah. Tell me about this.
Yeah, the bed bugs in this place would give you the heebie-jeebies.
Oh.
Like I would rather eat 10 cockroaches than walk in. Like it was bad. I mean, they were falling from the ceiling. They were coming out of the spigot in the sink.
How do you?
I went to the owner of this hotel. It was like, because there's not thousands or 10,000 here. Leroy, there's millions.
Leroy, that was his name?
That was his name.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't say his last name.
That's
Leroy,
fine.
dude, you had a problem.
How did Leroy let it get like that? How do bed bugs add up massively like that? Was it all rooms or just one? What's going on? How did Leroy get it to this point?
Well, bed bugs can travel through walls, sockets to sockets, and, they reproduce on an average of 30 bed bugs every 2 to 3 hours.
Dude, I didn't know that.
Like
they have 30 kids every 2 to 3 hours bed bug reproduction.
Well, you figure if you got 60 females and 60 males, I wish I was a bed bug, Johnny, because all they do is eat, sleep, and mate.
Yeah. Oh, Osseo Joe, everybody on the Farmers Insurance Hotline. We love him. So that was the worst. No, how did it end? Did you just tell Leroy, dude, best case scenario here, let's just take a flamethrower to this place rather than kind of fix it up? What was the end of this story, Osseo? Osseo. I think we lost him, Bondi. Hey, Bondi, yeah, we lost Osseo. How do you think that story was going to end?
I hope it ended with a flamethrower, just torture that thing.
It's stinking hilarious because every time Osseo Joe calls in, and I love it, he wants to talk about football, but I want pest control stories. Those are stinking hilarious. Like that's one of the best ones we've had, but other ones like, yeah, that's for Osseo. I mean, he got out of that business. Osseo Joe, he had 2 tours in Afghanistan. And he said on this show before, he would rather take another tour to Afghanistan than go back into the pest control industry. He said it was just, I mean, can you imagine, like, you don't want to eat. You get home from work and, you're there and you're thinking, okay, what's for dinner? You're like, dude, I don't want to eat anything. I just saw 1 million bed bugs. I'm not hungry.
Well, you're probably afraid that you're going to open the fridge and there's going to be whatever bed bug or rodent or dead bird or something is camping out on your filet mignon.
Honestly, and I love my job, obviously. I say it every damn day. I don't make a ton of money. I make enough to pay my bills and maybe have a few $100 left over, all right? But you could offer me, honestly, $300,000 a year to work for the Orkin Man, and I don't think I could do it. I don't think I would do it. I couldn't do that job. I would just hate my life. Yeah, I'd have all this money. I'd have cool stuff, but I'd hate my life. I don't think I could do it. And my girlfriend's listening like, oh, bull crap. If you got everything, that's where you are, man. You're doing it. Forget sports.
I don't think 3 words came out in that deal other than forget sports.
You know what my girlfriend said the other day, Ronald? I got like the first one of these, okay? She said something along the lines of like, ugh, there's always, or like, ugh, you're always so busy with football. And I'm like, uh-oh, here it is. Of course I'm busy this time. This is what I do, dude. Like if it's a fantasy football podcast or fantasy football, whatever, this show, going to games.
I mean, you do take it to an unheard of level with a fantasy football podcast. Fantasy football's one thing. Podcasts are another thing. A fantasy football podcast
really nerdy.
Yeah, I mean, that's like uber nerd.
Really nerdy. I'm in a fantasy league, and we have a podcast for our league.
We need your nerd button again.
It's awesome. That was a little too loud there, Bondi. I don't have your levels that well. Next time you do something like that, just step away from the mic.
Or give you a heads up so you can turn things down. I want to make sure the chuckleheads hear it.
Okay, here's what the text was. I mean, is this like... again, I'm kind of new to this relationship thing.
You're asking the wrong person, by the way.
Okay, let me ask you this. The text says, you are always busy with football. Is that the writing on the wall? I mean, is that like a death sentence? Is this not going to work? Is she going to leave me?
That's hardly a death sentence, but that's a maybe begin to reconsider if the fantasy football podcast should avoid interfering with the girlfriend.
I have to do the fantasy football podcast.
Well, then you better make sure you can also make time for the little lady.
I'm thinking I should buy her some flowers this week and say, "Hey, babe, baby doll." Like I'll get emotional with this. I'll turn my lovey-dovey music on. I'll be like this. I'll be like, "Baby doll."
Here, just imagine I'm her and you're talking to me right now.
Okay, I'm looking right at you, Bondage. Baby doll.
What's up, Johnny?
I know please don't do that.
What's up, sweetheart?
Please don't do that, Bondi. Baby doll, I know I'm busy, and I know, we're both committed to this, and I know, babes, it's a tough time of year. I love what I do, and I love that you support what I do as I support what you do. Even though you don't love your job the way I do, I'm going to support you every step of the way. By the way, I hope the flowers I sent you yesterday, hope they're smelling okay, honey.
But babe,
Bondi,
it's a fantasy football podcast.
Baby, I've been playing fantasy football since 1988. I'm a pioneer of fantasy football, and my league depends on me, for an hour and a half every Tuesday night to record a stupid podcast. And it means something to me, like you mean something to me. So whatever I have to do to coordinate, where I can give you way more time than I give football, I'm ready, and I'm able to get that done, baby doll. I love you. I love you, baby doll.
Get rid of the fantasy football podcast and I'll love you too.
No, she's not saying that. What's with you in the fantasy football podcast? That's like hardly even the problem with her.
That's just so next level nerdiness. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't even have enough time for a fantasy football, period, let alone a fantasy football podcast.
Yeah. I got a text message coming in from a Packer fan. It's awesome.
Go Pack, go.
It says, hey, Osseo Joe, how'd the Steelers look over the weekend?
Hey, the Steelers might have been able to hang with the Miami Dolphins. Let's put it that way.
Seriously, that's a Packer fan firing back at Osseo. Hey, how'd your
worse?
Steelers look, Osseos? How'd your Steelers look?
I haven't had the chance to ask. I mean, how do you feel about slipping by a pretty pitiful Cincinnati Bengals team, or what's supposed to be a pitiful?
Look, how
Bengals
many times have you seen Seattle play ugly, win ugly, not really deserve to win? They always do that.
That's
true. Like how Seattle plays. It just doesn't look great. It's ugly, but they usually end up winning. It's weird.
If that's how every game is, they're looking at 7-9.
Not happy. They're not going to be. Russell Wilson has never had a losing season. This team is not worse than last year's team that went 10-6.
You didn't hear a word I said. I said if they look like that every game, they'll be 7-9.
They probably look like that every game.
They probably won't. They'll be better.
Check out this.
They'll do the whole week 1 to week 2 thing like EOU's head coach Tim Camp was talking about.
Northwest Furniture and Mattress text line 541-962-7700. Text the show. Johnny, how do I find your fantasy football podcast? There's a guy who wants to listen to my podcast.
Hey, as I'm sitting here dissing it, hey, you know what? If me dissing it gets you more love, then more power to you.
Here's the thing. You wouldn't, hey, Bushy, you wouldn't want to listen to my podcast because it's centered around our league. The only people who want to listen to the podcast are the people in our league. We have guests come on. We bring like opponents on, have them talk trash to each other before the game. We make fun of owners for doing stupid lineup decisions or draft moves. Honestly, it's pretty popular. We recorded on Tuesday night, and my girlfriend last night was like, really, dude? Like, you were always so busy with football. Oh, my gosh, my girlfriend doesn't know whether a football is pumped with air or stuffed with feathers. Does not know, does not care. But yeah, okay. I love her none the same. I actually like her better for not liking football.
Okay.
Because I can get away from sports and just be with her and give her all of my love.
I'll humor you on the fantasy football podcast in for a minute. What is the fantasy football league that Johnny H. Ballgame runs? What is the take on what is their take on the whole Antonio Brown saga. And where is Brown?
He's on my
currently?
team.
I have him.
I have AD. I have AB in 2 leagues.
Are you concerned, especially with what came out? Was it yesterday?
Luckily, both the teams I have, I'm fairly deep. Like, I think I can withstand AB doing whatever AB's doing, and he'll see his day in court as he deserves, and she'll deserve her chance as well. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, are you asking me, is he going to be gone from the Patriots in a week? Probably like 50-50. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But I don't want to talk about that.
No. I was just curious because I see that, and it seems like it's one thing after another with him, and I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with that.
Because it seems like he's...
But for the frostbite?
No.
You feel bad about the frostbite?
No, because I feel bad for him because it seems like he's continuing to dig himself one hole after another, and he needs to get it turned around.
Ronald Bond, your LeGrand Observer sports editor. Again, subscribe to the Observer. Visit LeGrandObserver.com. Your Napa Auto Parts local sports report every Wednesday on this show. Bondy, terrific stuff today, man, and safe travels, and always enjoy your coverage, and have a good coming weekend with all the sports you're going to cover, my friend.
Appreciate it. It's going to be a busy one. It's going to be I'm really looking forward to this weekend.
Johnny Ballgame Show, Bench Warmers Pub and Grill. I love ya.
It's time now for your local weather forecast. In LeGrand tonight, mainly clear conditions, low of 42 degrees. For tomorrow, mainly sunny conditions with a high near 80. In Baker City tonight, mostly clear skies too, low of 42 degrees. And by tomorrow, plenty of sunshine throughout the day with a high near 78. This weather forecast is brought to you by LeGrand Gold and Silver, family owned and managed for over 35 years. Your trusted local experts for fine jewelry and precious metals. Shop LeGrand Gold and Silver's full line of quality jewelry, gifts, and coins, and find the perfect gift that will be cherished for a lifetime.
His wife's words echoed in his mind.
You never fix anything around here.
Well, today that would change. He would fix the water heater. He'd show her that he was the handyman of this house. He was more than capable. Oh, no. Covered it. August 14th, 2008. Talk to farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
See your local Farmers Insurance agent, Greg Blackman, in LeGrand.
Suicides among veterans is a growing epidemic. They're our family members, our friends, our neighbors. They need our help. Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255 is a great source for information. Counselors offer instruction on how to support our veterans and recognize troubled behaviors. It's our turn to be there for our veterans, like they've been there for us. Call Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. This message sponsored by Coordinator Rick Gloria and Baker County Veterans Services.
A blind boy in Ecuador struggling to make friends. Villagers in tsunami-devastated Indonesia trying to rebuild their lives. Children in the Philippines with no school and no library. These are people in need. But luckily, they have you. Since 1917, members of the Lions Club have been helping people in their own communities improve their lives and better the area around them. For information on how to join, call the Oregon Lions at 866-623-9053 or visit lionsofOregon.org.
Russell takes a high snap, hands it off. Chris Carson pounds his way in. Touchdown, Seahawks!
The Seahawks hit the road this week as they travel to Pittsburgh to battle Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. Hi, this is Steve Rabel. Join me this Sunday, pregame at 8, kickoff at 10, right here on the Seahawks Radio Network.
Seahawks football on Boomer Radio is brought to you in part by Shaw's Auto Body, the main event in Baker City, and LeGrand Auto Repair. Johnny Ballgame Show, Sports Talk Radio. Appreciate everybody. I think I'm going to grab a bite at Benchie's tonight. Not much for sports, to be honest. I mean, look, I say this about baseball, and we'll talk a little bit about it moving forward, but Baseball's turned into a regional sport that really only matters if your team is in it, right? Like, I'm not interested tonight in, oh my gosh, sweet. The Braves and the Phillies are playing. Oh, we're talking, where can the Phillies be in the NL wild card? And oh my gosh, can the Braves win the division? I don't even care. And I don't know anybody who does, unless you're a Braves fan or a Phillies fan. Then it's cool and you're in it and great. It's September 11th. Obviously a day to reflect. But unless your baseball team's still playing, I don't know who the Mariners play tonight. Are they playing the Reds still? Who cares? I hope they lose. Give me a better pick. But this time of year, I mean, it's all go with football. And on a Wednesday night, they should be playing a college football game somewhere. The MAC, the Mountain West, Sun Belt, Conference USA, the American, one of those group of 5 conferences. Dude, play a game on Wednesday. There's nothing else on. And idiots like me who live with a roommate and 2 cats, we don't have a life. Nerds! There's nothing, we don't have anything to do. I would totally go home tonight and watch Bowling Green versus Western Kentucky. I'd probably put money on it. Loser! Anyway, get the memo. Have a game on every night. Florida Atlantic versus Ball State. Loser! Yeah, what's the spread?
Johnny Ballgame. All right.
Yeah. Email coming in, Goss Motors inbox, home of the warranty forever at Goss Motors. Johnny, 7 straight division titles for my Dodgers. You think this is the year? And how about that? 7 straight division titles. This is from Jake. Jake, if you don't win a World Series, does this matter? Does anybody care? And that's cool. The Dodgers are on a magnificent run. 7 straight division titles. That's not an easy division either. The NL West. You got the Giants who've won, 3 World Series in the last decade? The Rockies are usually competitive. So are the Diamondbacks. The Padres are a flipping joke, but yeah, whatevs. That's a pretty good division. And the Dodgers have won that 7 straight times. But again, they have not won a World Series. So how many rips are you going to give it? I don't give any rips to it. You got to win a series. And the Dodgers have not won a World Series now. What's the count, boss? 31 years. Whether it's Jack Buck or Vin Scully on the call, Kirk Gibson's home run game 1. Yeah, that's the last great moment for Dodger Blue. The Bulldog Hershiser on the bump. You kidding me? It's 31 years ago, dude. So it doesn't matter if you're not going to win at all. Hey, Dad, can you buy me a division championship t-shirt? It'll be 7 in a row. I mean, look, if you see a dude walking around wearing a division championship t-shirt, you got a couple plays. You can just smack him. You can make fun of him. Or you light the damn shirt on fire. Division championship t-shirt, 7 in a row. Can we go to what website can I get a division championship jersey? NL West champions. 7 straight. No, it's awful. Like, here's the thing. The TBS era Atlanta Braves, had they not won at least one, we would have looked at that team entirely different. And as crazy as it is, really all you have to win is one. And the Atlanta Braves, I want to say, won the division. Dodger fan Jake, 7 straight division titles. The Braves won, 15 straight division titles? They doubled what the Dodgers are doing. And they won the World Series in 1995. They went to several others. What was it? 91, 92, 99? The Braves were always in the World Series. They only won it once, but they won it. And that's all you have to do. Dodgers, hey, you got to win a World Series. And you know what I hope you do? I wouldn't mind if the Dodgers won a World Series. Good for them. Again, baseball, for me, it's a regional deal. If my team's not in it, and my team hasn't been in it for the better part of 2 decades, yeah. If you're still following baseball in mid-September, it means your team is in some type of wild card or divisional pennant race. But most people, no, dude, it's football season. Baseball, your job is to get me from springtime to training camp in the NFL. That's what I need from you, baseball. Get me from April 1st to like August 1st. And if you can do that, great. This year, the Mariners, dude, I stopped watching Mariner baseball before Memorial Weekend this year. I haven't seen a Mariner game since mid-May. Ballgame Shell, Bench Warmers, Pub and Grill. I haven't. Quick shout out. Again, free lunch, free lunch, free lunch. No gimmicks involved, just a free lunch. Countryside Sheds, my boy Pete and the crew. They're having an open house tomorrow all day, but the free lunch from 11 to 2. That's 10505 North McAllister, just on the corner of Highway 82 in North McAllister. Countryside Sheds. For more info, you can go to countrysidesheds.com. Storage units are going away. They're too much money every month. For a Countryside Sheds, you can buy a shed that's bigger than a storage unit, and you have constant access to it. It's right in your backyard in many cases. And Pete and those guys, dude, you can design your own with them. It's crazy. They do free delivery, easy purchasing options. Look, sheds are perfect these days, whether it's cleaning, storage, workshop stuff, garden supplies, cabins, sheds, animal shelters, greenhouses. You've seen them all out there, out on the strip. Countryside Sheds tomorrow, saying thank you to everybody. So the weather's going to be better tomorrow, way better. Go get your free lunch, 11 to 2 at Countryside Sheds. Ballgame Show, Bench Warmers, Pub and Grill. Give me a quick one.
It's got that atmospheric feeling to it.
This is Oregon football.
And it is intercepted. Foot race. It's over, baby.
Saturday, the Ducks wrap up non-conference play at home against Montana.
First down and a lot more. There you go. Nope, you're not going to get him.
Kickoff is at 7:30.
Unbelievable.
It's only on your home for Ducks football.
When you hear that roar, it's game time. It's big game time.
Ducks football on Boomer Radio, brought to you by Cricket Wireless, Kurt's RV Service and Repair, and Jerry Shaw with Country Financial.
More than 7.7 million American teenagers participate in high school sports every year, including about 101,000 here in Oregon. They're all learning essential life lessons, like the importance of hard work, time management, and self-discipline. Skills that are helping them become better leaders and more active, responsible citizens. This message presented by the Oregon School Activities Association and the Oregon Athletic Directors Association.
I can't do anything without you. Can't do anything with you. You drive me crazy, but I love you. You make me lazy, but
I need you to finish. We're going to finish strong tonight, Goss Motors style. 1922 was when MJ Goss Motors sold their first vehicle in this valley. They probably sold 3 or 4 more today. Visit GossMotors.com, home of the warranty forever. Nobody does that in that industry. Goss Motors is doing that, and they're seeing a huge bump. If you're going to warranty my car forever, hell yeah, I'll go buy a car at MJ Goss Motors. You had me at warranty forever, and I love you. College basketball scandal, I don't even care anymore. Grimy, sleazy, greasy, cheesy college basketball, so dirty. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. Until then, it's good to get behind the mic for 3 hours again. I love you. Ball Game Show, Bench Warmers, Pub and Grill, that's all I got.
The Banner Bank Studio airs your favorite news and sports talk, only on Super Talk Radio, KLBM La Grande and KBKR Baker City.
Asylum curtailed, 9/11 remembered. I'm Barbara Cusack. The U.S. Supreme